Par for the course, huh? I always forget to turn my mic on. Dang it. That should be better. Um, yeah. So anyways, yeah, today I wanted to go through and just kind of show you all how I researched to find cards to buy and some different statistics to look at. One in particular that relates to baseball that's really powerful. Um, but we'll be looking at a lot of different things. So let's get into it. Hit me with any questions or anything you have. So this is what I'm watching right now on eBay. There's a bunch of Bowman Chrome Ken Griffey Jr. refractors, superfractors, X-fractors that are ending in the next couple hours. If you're interested in these, use one of the links. Use one of my eBay links, and it will track your purchases for like 24 hours, and they will send me a commission, like a small commission on anything you buy within 24 hours of using one of my links. It doesn't have to be to anything specific. It's just anytime you click on a link, if I'm the last partnered link that you click on, then anything you buy within a 24-hour period, they will pay me a small percentage. So just a little something. If you want to help out the channel, that's a free and easy way that you can help me out, is just kind of keep that in mind. If you're going to be buying on eBay, just pretty much in the description of any of the videos or anything, there'll be a link. And I think there's one in the description here, like just a standard link that just goes to eBay search. But yeah, these Bowman Chrome X-fractors from the early 2000s is a perfect example of something that's really overlooked. The Topps Chrome are more wanted, but the Bowman Chrome are good too. You're looking at, probably a max around 250 produced of these X-fractors. The Topps Chrome in the early 2000s, I think, were a little bit more rare than that, of like especially the X-fractors. But yeah, these are pretty rare, and right now they're going pretty cheap. That's less than $20, most of them. But I think they sell normally around $30 to $40. Jesse, when looking for cards, what's most sought after? From what I've seen, mainly base cards and hollows and nice looking numbered parallels, right or wrong? Yeah, it just depends. Ignore the width. Okay. Yeah, it just depends. Most of your base rookies are going to be pretty desirable. And then as far as like with history, so you can't really go off of current demand. Current demand usually changes pretty heavily over time. So for instance, like in the late 90s, some of the insert cards were very sought after, and some still are today, the ones that are really rare, but for the most part, those aren't very desirable nowadays, when at the time they were really, really desirable. It was kind of a new thing. So yeah, I mean, base rookies are always gonna have some value, are always gonna be desirable. Parallels, I don't know. We live in a different world right now where, like, there are 36 different Luka base parallels out of 2018. I don't know specifically for 2019. It's probably more. So, there's demand from people that want every one of those, like building the rainbow. They want every color of the different parallels and stuff. But as far as like scarcity and rarity, I think that's an interesting question. Like, how rare is something that's numbered to 50 if there's 10 things just like it that are all numbered to 99 and 149 and 199 and 299, where you have, just the numbered parallels make up, probably 1,000. So that's something interesting that I've been thinking about lately. It'll be interesting to see moving forward how people look at that. So yeah, I think always, the base rookies, but also like always do your research. Look at the population reports. One of the things, I made a video about the LeBron rookies, and it just blew me away. And I've sent some questions out to some friends of mine that stay on top of this stuff, because like the Bazooka LeBron rookies, it's pretty easy to go on eBay and find graded examples to buy, but their population report is super low. It's like 250 or something like that. It's just ridiculously low for a card that, LeBron, it's not like LeBron broke out at some point in time and people haven't been grading his cards. It's like he was always seen as like the next Michael Jordan. And so for, and those Bazooka cards, it's kind of gimmicky nowadays, but Bazookas it's not like it's a trash brand or anything like that. Like, those are good cards. They're well known. They're not the Topps rookies. They're not the Topps Chrome rookies by any means, but they're legitimate. And so, most of those cards, if they're in good condition, should have been sent to grading by now. And the population report's really low. I almost think it's an error. Like, I've never seen them have like a significant error in their population reports, and especially on a player like LeBron, but it just seems way, way too low. So, I don't know. Something to think about. Is Bazooka an old popular brand though? Not really. Bazooka was always a gum company, so they've had different baseball and different sports cards lines over the years. But they were never really a regular card brand or anything. I'm gonna look up some. Hold on here a second. Let's look up Bazooka card. So if we look up Bazooka cards, so like there's some 04 Griffey. So I guess like in the early 2000s, they started making more cards. There's some 88 Bazooka bubblegum and baseball cards. Heritage Minor League. Oh, that's 2020. That's like a one of those weird offsets. 2005. So it looks like they ramped up in the early 2000s. 96. There's some 57. A contest card. There's some 65 Bazooka. They've just like they've kind of off and on always been around, but never really, they were never really considered a card brand. It was always, a gum brand that made some cards. You love their gum? Lip Fishy? Yeah, I was never really a fan of Bazooka gum, to be perfectly honest. I always felt like it lost its flavor pretty quick. But yeah, to each their own. If you like it, that's cool. I like their branding. I always like their like bright colors, and how they did the Bazooka brand was always pretty cool. But yeah, so they've always kind of, like I say, off and on. I don't think it was like every year they made some trading cards, but off and on they would print cards with their stuff, and it's just kind of something that's always been around, but never really looked at specifically as a card brand. I don't think you'll ever find like a bazooka card that's considered like the card to have. Jesse, just made your eBay link, my new bookmarked eBay link, so hopefully that helps out. Thank you. That is one thing I was going to mention in the next video. Is that would be a really easy way to do it, is just make a bookmark. That's actually specifically what I was thinking would be like how I would put it would be, that would be really easy and it would really help out. So thank you very much. Yeah, it's pretty awesome. A friend of mine taught me about that because I was kind of like because Amazon's affiliate links are okay, I guess. Like if you click on a link and you buy that item, then you get a percentage for it. But with eBay's is so much more powerful in that like they track your shopping over 24 hours, and anything you buy, like it gives a commission on. It's pretty powerful. Like that's my main, now that's like my main go-to, is try to promote the eBay affiliate links, because that's just so much more powerful. And the other thing is, like on Amazon, like somebody might go on there and spend a couple $100s, but that's probably about it, you know, on supplies or just whatever. But on eBay, I mean, somebody could jump on eBay and buy a $20,000 card. And that's a pretty good commission check. So yeah, I kind of opened my eyes to just how powerful that was. And I don't think everybody knows about that. So I'm kind of interested to see, but like, that's kind of like we were talking about different sites and apps and stuff. Like if they have links to eBay stuff, then they're making a pretty good amount off of just those links. And that might be why, like, you see a lot of people promoting, like, you know, the stuff that's really popular. You know, if somebody goes on and buys, you know, a Logo Man patch Trae Young for $50,000 on a, you know, 2% commission, that's like, you know, $1,000 commission just on that one card on 2%. And some of them are higher than that. Some of the commissions are higher than that. So I don't know. I have all my own little conspiracy theories, but just something to keep me entertained. How do I feel about Origins? It's all right. Like, I'm not that familiar with it. I think it's a good design. I think they're kind of condition sensitive from what I've seen. Like, they usually have like really dark borders and kind of thick cardstock, so it makes them more condition sensitive, kind of harder to grade. They normally chip and stuff like that. I think that it is important to kind of think about that as far as like the brands that are most popular right now aren't necessarily the brands people are going to think are the most popular 2 years down the road, 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road. I mean, like in the mid to late 90s, like Topps Finest was the cat's meow, and, you know, the most expensive to buy, and was kind of the top deal. And it still is to an extent. Like Topps Finest refractors that are rare from that period are really valuable, but just overall, it's not considered the end all be all from that era by any means. So like right now we have, you know, for basketball and kind of football, you know, you got Prism Select and Optic. And Select is only in a hobby format. They've never released to like retail like Target or Walmart. And so it was kind of, up until the last couple of years, it was kind of seen as like the premium brand, Select was. And then, you know, 2018, Prism really took over. But I could easily see that switching back. I think I've mentioned this before. It's like, hey, Malone, what's happening? Good to see you. Thanks for being here. Yeah, I could definitely see that changing to where all it would take would be one rookie, big rookie, to come out of one of these classes in the next couple of years, and for Select to be the card, that's the specific card that people want, and suddenly that switches back over, or Optic or whatever. But I really think Select's positioned better, and it makes sense from Panini's standpoint, because we've gotten to the point to where Prism's so desirable that they're able to print just tons and tons of product in hobby and retail, first off the line, and Tmall and all this different stuff. And I guess you could throw Mosaic in there too. That's one of those premium products that, is kind of new. But, if that were the case, and they could market this, they could kind of promote it to kind of help trend that away. But if that player came out and that was the case, that everybody wanted that Select card more than the Prism or the Optic, then, that opens the door for them to be able to like triple or quadruple production on Select, which is kind of what they did with Prism from 2017 to 2018, they tripled production, but from 2016, it was like 10 times more production to 2018 compared to 2018. So anyways, just back to your question, Jesse. Yeah, I think that it's important to kind of look at brands and think about what maybe will has potential in the future, just based on what brands. But yeah, Origins is pretty cool. I think it's kind of condition sensitive. Malone, if you never checked out Malone Money Mindset, he's got some pretty good videos on cards and investing. Jesse, I was going to ask about your thoughts on Mosaic too. The base card isn't too bad, but the holo definitely looks nice. Yeah, they look good. They're right up there. I really like the way Mosaic looks. We'll just have to see kind of going forward. I definitely like this year's Prism football. They put a lot of guys in their college jerseys and like their combine jerseys, not their college, but like their combine. They didn't have them in their pro jerseys. And I thought that was pretty cheap, considering it didn't release till December. It's not, the football season's been going for 4 months now. It's not like they didn't have time to change the image that they were printing. So yeah, I thought that was kind of cheap. But yeah, I like Mosaic. I don't open a lot of new product just because, and you'll see this when I come out with this first unopened video. I don't open a lot of new product because it's a terrible return on investment. Like, new product's always a bad return on investment. You're never going to get a good return on investment. On average, now you can buy a box and you can pull that 101 and you can, get 10 times what that box cost or whatever. But on average, your return on investment on a new product is pretty low. If you're able to get your money back, you're pretty lucky, and that usually takes a fair amount of work as far as selling everything you can sell to make your money back on a new box. Thanks. I really like Mosaic as well. Yeah, Mosaic's a good product. I love this stream. Thanks, Army Guy. Glad to have you here. Glad you like it. Yeah, the Mosaic's a great product. It's a really good looking product. I'm interested to know how much they produced, because it seemed like they were never going to quit printing 2019 Mosaic basketball. Like, there was 2019 Mosaic basketball on the shelves. They were restocking it in retail like 6 weeks after the season ended, 6 weeks after the championship was over. They're restocking product. Army Guy, just subscribe to Malone Money Mindset. Nice. That's awesome. Jesse, I don't mind opening product as long as I'm buying it at retail price, excluding Prism. Yeah. Bonnie, hey Bonnie, glad to have you. Yeah, I like opening product, and that's one of the things I really enjoy about this channel is it gives me like an excuse to buy new product, open new product, and I haven't recently, but it does give me that kind of extra incentive because everybody enjoys, opening new product. Everybody in the hobby, they enjoy that, um, and so it's I kind of like that, but you know, for instance, like Mosaic, like I opened a couple hangers on channel, but then prior to that, like a month before, I had opened I think a mega box and a couple hangers. And what I would do, and that just goes back to like working to kind of try to level that out. So any rookies, mainly the rookies, like I'll take and I'll set those aside. I'll label them and just set them up in my closet and just see what happens. So like I was able to go back to that. Okay, Talon Horton Tucker, he's breaking out. Maybe he is something, maybe he's not. But I'll go and pull that card out of that storage box and sleeve it up or whatever, and that kind of protects that investment over time. Maybe if a couple guys break out, then you can make your money back that way. But that's just kind of I would always hold on to those like lesser rookies and just see what they do, because like look at Giannis. Giannis didn't break 20 points a game until his 4th year in the league. So yeah. So it's definitely worth just holding on to those guys that maybe aren't very popular right now, because there's definitely opportunity down the line. Let's see here. See what these Griffies are doing. So about 2 hours left on those. But yeah, that's just something that's kind of like, if you look at Jordans, like pretty much any Jordan from the 90s, regardless of how many were printed or how like weak of a product it was, if you got a PSA 10 Jordan from the 90s out of any product, it's probably worth at least $100. And stuff like this. So like these Griffey X-Fractors, I mean, in the Bowman, they're always a good investment. Like, you got a guy who set the record. Like, he got a higher percentage of Hall of Fame votes than anyone in history, Griffey did. And whether his stats necessarily, warranted that or not, the guy is beloved. And guys like that are always going to go up. They're always a good value. So I'm kind of looking at that. I feel like cards like that, like those really limited number parallels from that that kind of overlooked era in the early 2000s are just really cheap right now. And if you go to PSA, like these superfractors in a 10, you're looking at like less than 5 cards normally that have been graded a 10. So if you get really lucky and you buy one, it comes back in really good condition, you can send it in and get a 10, then it's potentially a lot of money either now or down the road, whatever you consider a lot of money to be. One of the things that I was wanting to look into, so I am really hesitant about recommending football cards just because people are constantly getting injured. For a running back to have a good career, like a good career for a running back is 10 years or less. It's not like in baseball or basketball where you can have a guy that's putting up big numbers for 20 years. And when you've got such a short career, guys just get forgot about. Like, that's just what it is. Like, they're not in people's living rooms all the time. But if in looking for football, this is so running back. I would go through running backs, wide receivers, tight ends, and top 50 running backs of all time, top 50 wide receivers of all time, top 50 tight ends of all time. Kind of look for those positions that people are not necessarily quarterbacks. You're going to have a hard time finding a hole in the market on quarterbacks. I mean, there are good options out there. Peyton Manning's a great option long term. Drew Brees is probably a really great option long term. But for the most part, the quarterback market's pretty fairly priced. If we're looking at running backs, so like LaDainian Tomlinson, LaDainian Tomlinson is somebody I'm really familiar with because he lived around Missouri for a while. But 170 games played, so probably 12 seasons, 10 and 12 seasons. 3,000 rushing attempts, 13,684 yards, 145 touchdowns, 4,700 reception yards. Interesting fun fact about LaDainian Tomlinson, he has with players with more than 10 passing attempts, he has the highest completion percentage in the history of football. So a non-quarterback QB, he has like 58 or something for non-quarterback QBs. I don't know. I was watching a video on it, but anyways, for players that are not quarterbacks for QBs, he has like 58%. Or maybe more. He has a really high completion ratio percentage. So looking down through here, Marshall Faulk, you're looking at guys that are going to be in the Hall of Fame if they're not already. And so that's where I would start, especially when it comes to football. So we'll just start with Marshall Faulk, rookie card. So we're looking at 95, 94, 95. Dang. 95 finest with coding PSA 9 that has 12 minutes left and is at $7.30. Wow, that seems cheap. That seems really cheap. 94 SP. Looks like maybe that SP is his like standard, like his main rookie card. Here's a PSA 8 for $20, that 95 SP. So, how much collectible value, how much are Marshall Faulk's rookie cards going to go up over time? I don't know. It kind of depends on the market in general. Football's kind of a weird market. Like, I think about this a lot, how, there's only 16 games in the season. There's not that much opportunity for players to really impress you over the season. It's not like basketball where a guy can come out and put up 10, highlight replays in one game. It's more of they might be able to put up 10 or 15 highlights over the course of a season. So how much does that stick with people? Football and basketball was not as big in the 90s when it comes to collecting. Definitely not as big as baseball. Now, you could argue basketball's bigger. You could argue that football's getting up there. Probably have to look at like production numbers to see what's actually going on. Yeah, Jesse, Clyde Edwards-Helaire got hurt today, which sucks. Hopefully he's not hurt bad. We'll see. That's football. So like you look at Joe Burrow, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, like guys are constantly getting injured. Like it's a really high injury sport, and so when it comes to investing in cards, especially of current players, it's very risky. In my opinion, it's just really risky. One thing, let's look up Tony Gonzalez. I think it's 2007 Topps Chrome. Maybe was his rookie 2007? I thought it was. Maybe it's not. '97. 97. Okay, never mind. I'm so old. Gonzalez. Topps Chrome. So, right now you can pick up Topps Chrome Tony Gonzalez rookies for $30, $40, probably 20. Here's a refractor. That's a PSA 9 that they're asking $12.50 for. Let's see what they're selling for. And I mean, Tony Gonzalez, we looked the other day, and Travis Kelce's on a better pace right now than what Tony Gonzalez was. But, there's a really strong argument to make that Tony Gonzalez is the best tight end in football history, basically. Here's a refractor. And again, Topps Chrome refractors from this time were a lot more rare. So, like, here's a refractor that went for $300, but his regular Topps Chrome for $40. I think that's super cheap. Here's one that went for $10. It's probably not in great condition. We can look at it. So, doesn't look bad. Maybe a little off center, top to bottom. I don't know. I'd have to look at a PSA 10 and see what they consider good centering on these to be. Bonnie, wow. Was Hort bad and out for the season? Yeah, I don't know. Like, he just got hurt a couple hours ago in the game. Somebody fell on his leg. I mean, it looked like his leg was twisted, so it's probably, a knee injury, I would guess, if anything. But we'll just have to wait and see. I haven't heard any details on it yet. So we can look it up. Let's see. Help to locker room, injury updates. Doubtful to return to the game. Yeah. Oh, I guess it was his ankle. He said his ankle feels good. Let's see here. It doesn't look like there's much information right now. Le'Veon Bell played really good. I'm definitely rooting for Le'Veon Bell. I'm a guy that loves second chances. And he's come in and he's really been very professional and, bought into the system. And so, I want to see Le'Veon Bell do well. If whatever happened earlier in his career, definitely want to see him have a chance to put that behind him and move on. Yeah. It didn't look good. Said he was carried out and couldn't put any pressure on it. Had to be carried off. Yeah, it didn't look good. But we'll see. Hopefully it's just a sprained ankle and he comes back and does really well. Just maybe takes a week off and comes back. Oh, Le'Veon Bell, Antonio Brown, and Dez Bryant all got touchdowns today? That's cool. Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, like I say, football is a sport where you know, you don't get too many second chances. Like, the careers just don't last that long. And I always like seeing guys be able to come back and kind of correct maybe some of the stuff they did when they were younger and not quite as wise. I want to look up the population numbers for these Tony Gonzalez. Oh, crap. Put it in the wrong place. Rookies. And if there's anything y'all want to look up that you're interested in, let me know. That's what I'm here for. Let's see. Oh, that's baseball. So, football. Tony Gonzalez, 86 chrome 10s. So just the base chrome, those are the ones that are going for, you know, 30 or 40 bucks right now. There's only 86 10s, and there's only 441 overall. So it's not like, you know, it's not like there was a lot of them out there and people are just waiting to get them graded. I don't think. They're just really super rare. So like that refractor is going for $300. There's only been 42 total graded, and only 110 exists. That's crazy. That is nuts. That's really low population numbers. Matt at PSA Collector he did a video on some football and was talking about these, and that's what he turned me on to them. And I was looking. I had no idea that the numbers were that low on them. Let's see here. So one of the things I wanted to hit on when it comes to baseball, so I just did a top 5 baseball cards to buy, one of those listicle videos not too long ago. And one of the guys I had on there, well, I had Alex Bregman on there and I had Bryce Harper. And so StatCast, we're in the StatCast era. If you ever watch Foolish Baseball on YouTube, he's always talking about the StatCast era. But one of the stats that they, Jesse, have you looked into Talon Horton Tucker? I know Rooks can be overhyped, but he looks solid. No, I haven't looked into him. Like I know he's a rookie, so you know, I didn't have a bunch of his stuff. If I had a bunch of his stuff, you know, and I was waiting to see what he did, I probably would have sold some of it, because, you know, just like when Bull had that big game, you know, 4 months ago or whatever, you know, there's, you know, sell while you can, but, you know, there's not a really good way to tell, I don't think, in basketball. You kind of just got to go off of your instinct. So like, yeah, you know, with guys like Trae Young and Luka that, you know, they're amazing players. Like, that's defined. There's no reason to look into, you know, whether they're going to get better or not. I'm not a basketball scout, so I don't judge. I go off, the one thing I go off of when it comes to like my personal opinion about a player is, are they exciting to watch? Otherwise, outside of that, when it comes to basketball, I just look at them and say, how exciting is this person to watch? If this person is exciting to watch, then if they do well as far as stats wise, then people are going to be buying them. So like Giannis didn't have great stats in his first 3 years in the league, but he was an exciting player to watch that made big plays. Talon Horton Tucker, I haven't looked into him because I really am. I'm not holding much of his stuff, and I don't prospect in rookies for basketball really. But there's definitely a market for it. I just don't consider myself a very good judge of what is going to make somebody that young and has that little information, that little data out there. I don't consider myself a good judge of being able to watch that person and decide whether they're going to become a good basketball player or not. Now, in the case of guys like Brandon Ingram, where you've got somebody that was last year's most improved player, averaged 24 points a game, and he's made consistent improvement in numbers every year for the last 4 years. That's something I can look at, and I can say, yeah, I think there's a real buying opportunity there. When you can buy Brandon Ingram rookies for $20-$30, and there was 10 times less of those produced in 2016 of the Prism than what there was Prism in 2018. So I think that's an awesome buying opportunity. We'll see what he does. And, last year might have been a fluke with Zion out for, a portion of the year. He might not have as many scoring opportunities this year. But from what I've seen in the preseason, he pretty much scores whenever he wants to. Brandon Ingram does. So you won that Marshall Faulk just now? Oh, wow. That's a nice card. I mean, that was a nice card and super cheap. What was it, like $10? Or, I mean, that's what it was at whenever we were looking at it. Like, it was at like less than $10, which is crazy. You won that, huh? This one? $7? Oh, $20. That's about more like it for a finest. They didn't make. Let me look that up. That's still a great deal. Are you in Missouri, Army man? Army guy? MLB Cards Australia, thanks for being here. Bryce Harper concerns me. I've invested in a bunch of his stuff, and I think he needs another monster year to make the Hall of Fame, and I'm not sure it's going to happen. Stick with me. Stay tuned here, because Bryce Harper specifically is one I want to talk about when it comes to looking at statistics and how his career might play out. I have a really good feeling about Bryce Harper, and it's not just a hunch. Like, I want to show you why I'm bullish on Bryce Harper right now. So stick with me for a minute and I'll get into that. It jumped up a bit. Yeah, Army guy, I still think that's a great, you're in San Antonio. Okay. Yeah, I still think that's a great buy though. $20. Oh, you went to basic in Missouri. That's where it's showing your accounts out of Chesterfield, who bought that card. But that's awesome. Yeah, I'm gonna look that up, that card, real quick, and then I'll get into the StatCast stuff for baseball, because I think it's pretty powerful. Topps Finest Football, 95 Finest. Looks like about 2,600 cards total have been graded. 19 10s. Let's see. 4 refractors and 5 with coating. So there's actually more refractors with coating. And 11 regular cards with coating that have come back at 10. So that tells me that a lot of this, I kind of look at that and say, okay, well, if there's more refractors with coating that are coming back 10s, then that means that a lot of this product was opened up after the fact, specifically to send in. That's what I would kind of think by looking at that number. Army guy, I wonder why it says Missouri. I signed up from Texas for eBay account. I don't know. It said Chesterfield, Missouri, which is weird because you would have been at you wouldn't have been in Chesterfield. You would have been in Fort Leonard Wood, right? If you're Army. I don't know. Unless it was a different card. Was it this card? Oh no, I don't know. Anyways, maybe it was a different card that you bought. But yeah, those are really low population numbers. And I do, like, I harp on population all the time, but it's just the way I see it, that's always what ends up being the defining factor. Population always ends up being, like, given enough time. So, like, right now, the the stuff in the 80s is all sorting out based on population. In the last couple of years, you've seen the Topps Tiffany, the early 90s Desert Shield stuff, the stuff that's rare that was super gimmicky for 30 years and nobody thought would ever be really worth much money. Now people are looking at it because of population, because they're saying, okay, this Topps Tiffany Barry Bonds is like 50 times more rare than the regular Barry Bonds. Now suddenly that has a lot more value. Oh, finest with coating PSA 9 for 2050. Yeah. That's it. Yeah, that's a PSA 9 for $20. That's crazy. That is crazy because there's even 9s with coating. There's only 43 9s with coating out there right now. And only 11 higher, only 11 graded better. That's crazy. That's a really good buy. You can't hardly get it graded for that. You can't hardly get it graded. Actually, by the time you get it graded and pay shipping and everything, it's probably it's close to what you end up paying. That's awesome. Good buy there. Good buy. Okay, back to this baseball statistic. So barreled balls is what we want to look at. Or balls barreled. But anyways, it's part of the StatCast era, which has just come up in the last couple of years. It's just the StatCast era is they basically record every statistic you can imagine having to do with baseball. All right, so if we go to, let's just Google barreled balls. Let's try barreled balls 2020. So what a barreled ball is a ball that has it has a high exit velocity and a launch angle, a specific launch angle. So if the exit velocity is over a certain speed, that is the velocity that it leaves the bat at, and the launch angle is at a certain launch angle, then that counts as a barrel. And the higher the exit velocity, the more room in the launch angle. So like, I think if it's above 98 miles per hour, it can be within like 25 and 35 degrees. But then once you get up to like 120 miles an hour exit velocity, the launch angle can be between like 10 and 40 degrees or something like that. Maybe not quite that high, but it's a higher launch angle. So when the bat hits the ball, you've got your launch angle, and then you've got how fast that ball is leaving the bat at. So what that tells you is where the player is actually hitting on the bat. So like if you're hitting in the sweet spot, you're going to have a higher exit velocity, right? That's where your exit velocity comes into play. Is if you're hitting in the sweet spot of that bat, your exit velocity is going to be higher regardless. I mean, not regardless, but it makes more of an impact than how hard you swing the bat. Where you hit on the bat, hitting in that sweet spot. And then your launch angle, if it's within that launch angle that's considered a barreled ball, 80% of those balls that are hit in fair territory are going to count as a hit. So players that are hitting a barreled ball have an 800 average. Barreled balls have an 800 average. Okay? So here's the point I want to make with that. And Australia, MLB Cards Australia, I want to make this point for Bryce Harper. So this is the list, the StatCast exit velocity and barrels leaderboard right now. here we've got Bryce Harper as number 8 in his, 8th year in the league. He's number 8 in barreled balls. So what that tells you is he not only that he's hitting in the sweet spot 33.3% of the time. He's hitting the sweet spot. A max exit velocity of 114 miles an hour. Better than Tatis, better than Corey Seager, better than Juan Soto. The only people with higher exit velocities, max exit velocities, are Teoscar Hernandez and Miguel Sano. Average exit velocity of 92.5. Foul balls to line drive, 96. Anyways, he's 8th on the barrel balls. So I want to compare him and Alex Bregman, because Alex Bregman is really low on barreled balls. He still hit a lot of homers in 19, but his barreled balls were really low. So what that says is he's muscling those hits. He's muscling those, but his precision is not that great. Now, what does that tell us about Alex Bregman? Well, unless he corrects for that, then his hitting is probably going to go downhill later in his career because he's not as accurate. It's a lot hard. You can't muscle balls forever. You have, to be a great hitter long term, you have to rely on precision, on where you're hitting the ball on the bat, right? Bryce Harper, on the other hand, maybe he's had a couple years that weren't as great, that weren't 2015 class, but he's number 8 in the major leagues in barreled balls. So he has that potential to have those great years on down the line. And I'm going to show you something to prove that. So like other players that are top on the list, Jose Abreu, a guy that's, what is Jose Abreu? He's upwards of 40. I mean, he's not a young buck. Another guy on this list is Nelson Cruz is pretty high up here, I think. I think Nelson Cruz is one of the older players in baseball right now. I thought Nelson Cruz was in the top 40. Yeah, number 27, Nelson Cruz. Right? How old's Nelson Cruz? Nelson Cruz. Yeah, Nelson Cruz is 40. But has had 16 homers last year and batted .303. All right? That's not a coincidence. That's what this stat tells us is how good a hitter is regardless of basically their physical prowess. So like they don't have to be 24 and be benching 450 to be hitting well. Like they can be 40 years old and in the twilight of their career, but because they're really accurate with how they hit, they can have great years. So like Nelson Cruz, 40 years old, number 27 on the barreled balls list. So these things are not, they're not irrelevant. Like there's a reason, and this is the reason. So guys like, Mike Trout, Gary Sanchez, Bo Bichette, this really surprised me. Bo Bichette is not a guy that I put on that list because he's a shortstop. Bo Bichette has hit .307 out of his first 87 games or whatever he's been in the majors. He's hit over 300. I didn't realize how much power, ability to hit the ball for power that he has. But being that he's 21st on the barreled balls list, like that has made me rethink. Now look at his launch angle, 12-degree launch angle. That has really, really made me rethink Bo Bichette. Because, guys that hit for power have their cards go for more. I guess that's what I would look at. MLB Cards Australia. So would you put more focus into barreled balls than war, or use both as a comparison? I would put more focus on barreled balls when it comes to how a player is going to do long term. War tells me how a player did. War is kind of a funny statistic. So it's a good statistic for how a player did this year, but that's what it tells you is how did they do this year, or how did they do, but not just how did they do, it's how did they do relative to their competition, right? So at first base, you need to be a lot better hitter at first base because your competition, it's wins above replacement. So what would the average person that your team could have gone out and got in the major leagues, what would they have done in your position, and how much better did you make your team by being in that position? So if you're at first base, you've got to be hitting pretty well, or in the outfield, for instance. Whereas if you're a second baseman, you might, they have offensive and defensive WAR, but if you're a second baseman, you might be able to have a lot higher WAR with the same statistics as an outfielder, a lot higher WAR, because the average second baseman maybe isn't as good a hitter as the average outfielder, right? So, I mean, I think we're in this new era where not a lot of people understand a lot of these new metrics and stuff. I personally think that barreled balls, after looking at it more, is really, really powerful. When I look at just looking down the list, when I look at guys like Jose Abreu and Nelson Cruz on this list, and I see what's happened with their careers, and I say, okay, well, that's not a fluke. That's not a coincidence. George Springer, Ryan Braun, this is a statistic that tells me that someone is a good hitter. All right, and a good hitter will age well, whereas somebody that is just powerful when they're young, that's not going to age as well. So like Juan Soto, I mean, the amount of power that Juan Soto and Fernando Tatis hit with, and the amount of accuracy that they hit with, is that going to fade a little bit? Yeah, it probably will. Your hand-eye coordination, your eyesight, all these things start to go a little bit as you get farther along in your career. But Juan Soto could very well be depending on how long his career is and how he avoids injuries and everything, he could be one of the best hitters that the Major Leagues has ever seen. And same thing with Bryce Harper. After seeing this, I've always been bullish on Bryce Harper. I personally think a lot of the reason he hasn't done as well the last couple of years is because of the Phillies. Like, he just doesn't like playing in Philadelphia. That's just a personal opinion, but just when I watch him and his attitude kind of in the last couple of years, that's kind of just the way I look at it. Bonnie, is Tatis Jr. on the list? He is number 1 on the list. He is number 1 on the list. That surprised me. 2 shortstops at the top of the list. That surprises me. That really surprises me. We've got 2 at the top, and then, like I say, Bo Bichette, 21st. If I was to remake that top 5 list, and I will, because, as I say all the time, January is the best time to invest in baseball cards. I would put Corey Seager on there. I would put Bo Bichette on there. I would keep Bryce Harper on there. Alex Bregman, I still think, if he has a good year, his cards are just so cheap. They are so cheap compared to, a guy that, when you're looking at a guy that has 2 All-Stars already and he's only been in the league for 4 years and, is at the top of the list when it comes to first baseman or third baseman. Fantastic info. Thank you. Yeah, awesome. You're welcome. That's what I'm here for. I tell these guys all the time, people don't come to watch me because of my good looks. They don't come to watch me because of my entertainment value. It's how can I share what I know and how can I learn more stuff to share with the community? How can I provide actual real value? That's, I know my role, and that's my role. I'm never going to be Brad Pitt, and hopefully I'm a little more entertaining as I get more used to making videos and stuff like that. But I'm never going to be Robin Williams either. I've got to put time in and come up with information that sets me apart from all the other guys out there. That's how I'm going to have a successful channel and how I'm going to have a vibrant community. It's hard to see the screen. Yeah. Make it a little easier anyways, maybe. Let's see here. But yeah. Tatis is very special. We had him here in San Antonio when he was in AA. Is Keston on there? Keston Herrera? I'll have to look. Let me see. He's 50. Number 50. Keston is. Which doesn't put him a whole lot lower. Like, in this area, you've got Pete Alonso's 45. Does that mean I think Pete Alonso won't age as well as, like, Fernando Tatis or Bryce Harper? I mean, a little bit. It kind of makes me feel a little bit that way. Now, Pete Alonso's max exit velocity is maybe the highest on this list. It's the highest I've seen so far, 118 miles an hour. His average is 90, which isn't super great, but it's, max home run distance, 456 feet. This is a pretty cool leaderboard here. I'm going to copy this. I'm going to drop this link in the chat in case y'all want to check it out sometime. So, yeah, if you want to check this out. This is just, I knew about barreled balls, but I didn't understand exactly how it all worked together. And kind of discovering this really has opened my eyes to how much this statistic I feel like how much this really tells you about a player. And really that's what it's telling you is, you've got exit velocity, which is a measure of really sweet spot. Like, doesn't matter how hard you swing the bat, if you hit it off of the wrong part of the bat, like, it's not going to have a very good exit velocity. But if you hit, it really tells you your sweet spot, like whether you're hitting it in the prime part of the bat. Whereas so that's, and then launch angle is telling, that's kind of horizontally where in the sweet spot, like where you're hitting in the bat. But then when you look at launch angle, that's like your vertical, like you're up and down. Are you hitting under the ball just enough to create a ball that has a really, really good chance of landing for a hit? And so far, Corey Seager's one I've been big on. I'm hesitant with shortstops because just traditionally their cards don't do as well because they're just traditionally not power hitters. But we've seen that change. We've seen that change with Tatis and Corey Seager and Matt Chapman's another guy. Matt Chapman's another guy that I've been watching for a while because I think his cards are just super cheap for how good he is. But I think I'm going to look him up because I think Matt Chapman is maybe a little older than... See, he's been playing for 4 years, but he's 27, almost 28 years old. So I think that's why I didn't include him in that first go around is You know, the 4 years he's been in the league, he's done really well. He's averaging a 5 WAR over 4 years playing third base, which is really good. Really good. One All-Star, you know, but he's going on 28. Doesn't mean he still doesn't have a lot of good years left in him. He could easily have he could easily have, he's 28. He could easily play till he's 40 at a pretty good level. Potentially, you know, but there's a lot of things that go into that. Army guy, folks, we're so high on Keston, but prices dipped a lot last year. Yeah. I always say, you know, your overlooked guys are always going to be a better buy or a better opportunity, I feel like. Like, you find a guy who hasn't broke out yet, okay, well, what's the worst that can happen? You know? You're already buying him at a discount. So if something happens, he breaks his leg or he breaks his arm and he never plays again, you're still not out as much as had it been a really popular player. But they're overlooked, they're undervalued, so you're buying in lower, and the opportunity is there. So like with a Mike Trout rookie card, how much can a Mike Trout rookie card go up in relation to the market? It can't go up. If Mike Trout's rookie cards are going up 100%, then that means that the market in baseball cards has also gone up. So every card in baseball cards has kind of seen that upward momentum, right? But with a guy like Matt Chapman, you could probably see a 300% return pretty easily. Or a guy like Keston Herrera, if he has a really good year, if he has a breakout year, if he has, you know, a breakout year where they go deep into the playoffs or to the World Series. And the Brewers definitely have that. I think he's playing for the Brewers now. But they definitely have that chance. You know, they've got a really good lineup. So that's just what I always go to, is your overlooked guys are always, in my opinion, going to be a better investment, whether it be short-term, somewhat short-term, or medium-term, long-term, whatever. You know, you're always going to be better off if you can buy in low, and see what happens. Army guy, Matt Chapman might be the greatest defensive third baseman statistically. He might be. I want to see, let's see, player value batting, standard fielding. I definitely have been looking at Matt Chapman for a while there. His age was what kind of scared me a little bit. He had an 8.3 WAR in 2018 and in 2019. I'm guessing quite a bit of that probably came off defensive WAR. Yeah, so he had the best defensive WAR in 2018 and 2019. And the 9th best offensive. If he puts up 3 more years like that, oh, watch out. Raymond. Hi, Raymond. Thanks for being here. What do you think about Anthony Rendon? Sorry. I bought a lot of his, of 7, first Bowman Chrome for $8. I don't get it. Well, I have been thinking a little bit about Anthony Rendon here lately, because it's getting to that time of the year. January is always the best, in my opinion again. January is always the best time to buy baseball cards. Always the best time to buy baseball cards. August is almost always the best time to sell baseball cards, and January is always the best time to buy. Halfway through the off season and right before the playoffs, kind of. Excuse me. So Rendon had a good 2020. Batted .286 with a 2.1 WAR. 915 OPS. Let's see here. Anthony Rendon must be a second half of the season type of guy. Like, he's got 3 seasons here where he's got MVP votes. 4 or 5 seasons where he has MVP votes, but only 1 All-Star game. That is super weird. Hit over 1,000 in 2019 OPS, which is huge. Very few people ever do that. Led the league in RBIs and doubles. Led the league in doubles in 2018. Led the league in runs scored in 2014. He's got really... Anthony Rendon has really impressive stats. More impressive than what I thought. This is weird. Like, how does a guy have MVP votes and in the top 10 in 4 out of the last 8 years, and MVP votes in 5 out of the last 8 years, and only have 1 All-Star appearance? That's crazy. So that tells me he must really be a second half of the season type of guy. Because when the All-Star game rolls around, he's not being looked at that well, but by the end of the season, he's getting MVP votes. That is weird. That is weird. Playing for the Angels. Let's see what his contract... 2021 contract status. Okay, so he signed for 7 years, $245 million. So he'll be playing with the Angels for a while. And you got to think, eventually, the Angels are spending money. They're going to be, they're going to, like, they have to have a decent team sooner or later. Like, they just have to. Like, they've been putting every combination out there they possibly can. They've got to, like, win a World Series sometime soon. I mean, they went in 2019, and but yeah, we've got they've got Mike Trout. You know, they've got Rendon through 2026. Yeah, I think after looking at this makes me think Rendon's a lot better buy than what I had thought before. Let's see where Rendon falls on this list, because he's getting up there in that 30. He's at that 30 mark now. Okay, so he's way down on barreled balls. 157. Oh, that's tough. I'm really kind of buying into this whole barreled balls thing as far as a determining factor for how a player is going to age. I don't know. Gosh, he has really impressive statistics. Doesn't hit a lot of home runs, but he hit 34 in 2019. Let's see. Bonnie, I think Nolan Arenado's cards are pretty cheap. Yeah, they are. Maybe we'll fall off then. Yeah, make your own, decide what you think, but that's kind of the way I'm looking at this right now. So for me, I'm giving a lot of weight right now. I'm buying into this whole barrel balls thing. It's an accurate statistic that says only 1 in every 25 pitching attempts does Anthony Rendon hit a barreled ball. So he's making up for that lack of precision with muscle and with speed, right? That's how he's getting on base. Is he's muscling through balls that maybe aren't hit as well, aren't hit as accurately. And I'm guessing he's probably pretty fast. I'm just guessing. He's got a lot of doubles. But I'm guessing he's probably pretty fast. What's he got for stolen bases? not a lot, but yeah. So for me, I would probably back up a little bit if I'm looking at it from a long term standpoint. Now, um, does he have another like really good year in him? Yeah, he probably does. You could probably still, I'm not saying I would necessarily sell his stuff. And if it's super cheap, then why? Press Prince, hey, good to have you here. Do I have a Discord server? I am working on a Discord server right now. I'm working on a Patreon and a Discord server right now. And I'm looking forward to having that up soon. Raymond, just like you said, 125 for first Bowman rookie. 3 years from now, if I can get $10, you're still a winner. You are. And eBay's coming out with their new 75-cent shipping for sports cards, so you're good to go. I've taken listings down because why pay $4, $3 or $4, $3, I guess, to ship a card that I can pay $1 for a month from now? Yeah, I agree. So yeah, Press Prince, I'm definitely working on a Discord server, and I think that'll be a lot of fun. Just to kind of be able to have these interactions. I like doing the live streams, but like the videos, I'm hoping you'll see like Tuesday that this next video will be quite a bit better than the videos I put out before, and it's taken a lot of work. So that would be like having that Discord would be awesome because that allows me the opportunity to keep up with people and still be able to take that time to make those videos that just take a lot of time. So like I can't, at some point when I have, like after I have 1,000 followers, then I can put out those posts where it's like a message post, basically, like they do the polls but you can just put out a message, say, hey, guys, I'm working on this video. You probably won't see much out of me for the next few days, but instead I made that short 60-second video that was kind of like an advertisement for that first unopened video, and that was just kind of to tell people, hey, I haven't forgot about you, or I haven't quit YouTube. I'm just working on this video right now. It's taking up a lot of time. Jesse, random question, but do you prefer regular Panini hoops or the premium stock version? I prefer the regular version. Maybe I'm just a boomer, but like I feel like the premium stock version is already being done by like 4 other card brands that we talked about, and better. Like it's being done, and it's being done better. And so I'm not a huge fan of the premium stock version, but if I find some, I'll open some. But I'm not a huge fan of it for that reason. Like there's already enough premium chromium products swimming around out there, and so, but I like base hoops. I think base hoops is a nice little refreshing. Base hoops and Donruss is a nice, refreshing cardstock product that has kind of an iconic design to it. It's been around for a long time, both hoops and Donruss, and is just a great product. It's not, if you can find it retail, it's pretty good value. You get a lot of cards in a blaster or in a hanger, and yeah. So that's just me. But like I say, I'm kind of sentimental boomer. This year is going to be the 75th anniversary of the NBA, of the beginning of the NBA. So when they did the 50th anniversary, they did like top 50 best NBA players of all time. So this year they'll be doing the top 75, and they'll have the Hall of Fame induction ceremony of last year's Hall of Fame class, which was Tim Duncan, Kobe Bryant, and Kevin Garnett. Pretty sure that was last year's class. But they didn't get inducted last year because of COVID. So their ceremony is set for like July. And so all this stuff is coming together. Tim Duncan will definitely be, like on this list, he's 9th best player ever. And there's a good reason for it. I mean, Tim Duncan played for the Spurs his whole career, had a bunch of championships, had a ton of stats. You know, he's just like, he was just really quiet. And so he wasn't like a lot of people's favorite player because he wasn't like confrontational. He was just quiet. He went out and did his job. He's a big man. But I think you'll see a lot more attention go to Tim Duncan because of those two things. Because people will look at that list this year, 75th anniversary list, and say, wow, Tim Duncan, top 10 player of all time. Shaquille O'Neal, top 10 player of all time. They know Kobe Bryant's a top 10 player. LeBron, Jordan, Magic Johnson, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. They might not know that Shaq was almost an unstoppable force for 10 years, his first 10 years in the league. They may not know that Tim Duncan, in his last couple of years, he didn't really put up much as far as numbers. But for the first 15 years, he kind of dominated. Hakeem, number 12. Hakeem stuff I think is super cheap right now. Moses Malone from the 70s. I haven't been able to buy any 70s basketball, but like lately. But I love the designs. Like I love the designs of it. Kevin Durant's number 17. Kevin Garnett is number 18. Like I said, he's coming in this year. His stuff's still super cheap. I've got some stuff that is getting ready to go to PSA. Barkley, 20th. Dirk Nowitzki's one. 98 tops. Unopened product. I'm going to try to buy a box of 98 tops to open it on stream because I haven't run the numbers on it yet, and I'll do an unopened episode on 98 tops for sure. But in my opinion, it's a cheat code. You've got Dirk Nowitzki, Vince Carter, and Paul Pierce's rookie year. The Nowitzki PSA 10s go for $500. The Paul Pierce and Vince Carters go for around $300. And there was only a 220 card set that year. So out of Series 2, a Series 2 box, you had a 110 card set, and you had like 36 packs. Well, anyways, you average like three of each per box, plus the parallels. They had Topps Gold label every 12 packs. That was a 10 card set that included Jordan, Kobe, and Shaq. So you had about an even. You're gonna get 3 of those Topps Gold label cards out of a box. And you've got a 33% chance of getting either a Jordan, a Kobe, or a Shaq in those, in that insert parallel kind of set. But yeah, I think 98 tops is one of the best buys out there. Raymond, I'm not understanding the basketball market. Trey, Zion, Curry, Morant, worth more than most of all the time greats. Barkley, Isaiah, Duncan, Olajuwon, Robertson cards. Definitely something wrong. I completely agree. It is ridiculous. I completely agree. Yeah. Makes absolutely no sense that, I've said it time and time again, like, even if Luka is the best player to ever play basketball, his cards are either overvalued or everyone else's cards are undervalued. It's one or the other. It's not both. Like, the reason Giannis silvers from 2013 are worth 30 grand is because there's only like 250 of them in existence, as opposed to 2,500 Lucas, you know. And when you go down, and I'm going to get into this because that first unopened episode, I'm breaking down everything that has to do with 2018 Prism. So that's kind of what's on my mind. But people look at a Giannis silver that sells for 30 grand, and that makes them want a silver of Luka or silver of Trey or silver da 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 da, you know. But back then there was 2 cards per box, and they made a lot less boxes. Whereas now there's 6 silvers per box. But even like the silvers go for more than some of the numbered parallels. Like the silvers will go for more than the reds. And there's only 299 reds. There's like 2,500 Lucas silvers. So it's crazy. It's just a hype market. It's a hype market. Like, one of 2 things has to happen over time. Like, either that market comes down or everything else in the sports card market goes up. Like, you can't. There will probably. The 2018 Luka Prism is, I feel like, the Ken Griffey Jr. Upper Deck rookie card of this sports card boom. So it will always command a premium. But even the Ken Griffey Jr., there are only like 4,000 PSA 10s. And those go for like, they still go for probably more than what they should, but they go for like 1,400 a piece, I think. As opposed to like there's 16,000 Lucas right now, base, not including all the parallels. You know, and they just keep going up. You know, 2 grand, 1,800, 2 grand. Yeah, it's hype. It's all hype. It's it will be very interesting to see what happens. But I can see I don't, and maybe it's just my old thinking, you know. But I see no world where this stuff doesn't go back down, you know, to something reasonable. So like for instance, like a select 2018 select Luka, base Luka and a PSA 10 goes for about $800, and there are only like 1,100 of them. For 1,100, at $800 for how good Luka is, that seems very reasonable to me. But $1,800 for a card that there are 16,000 of just in a PSA 10 seems completely unreasonable. Like, that's all, you know, that's all hype market. That's all sneaker flippers coming into the sports cards. So like, you know, backpackers, guys that just go around. Oh, I know somebody that's willing to pay $1,800 for a Luka base Prism. I know someone that I can buy one from for $1,700. Bada boom, bada bing. I made $100. You know, so that happens thousands and thousands of times a day, and you get these markets that are just completely unsustainable over time. Bonnie, you tried my eBay link? Yeah, it doesn't go to my store. No. Like, I haven't even listed anything in the store yet. I'm probably going to do a live stream soon, maybe like next week, where I'm just going to do a live stream where I'm just listing stuff on the store. No, that's just a link to search through eBay, but if you buy anything through any of my links, if you use any of my links, then for the next 24 hours, eBay will track your purchases, and I will get a small commission on anything you buy on eBay if you use one of my links. Like, if you were to use someone else's link after mine, then it would go to them. But if you use my link and then you just go anything you buy on eBay from that time forward for 24 hours, and then like down the line you come back, use one of those links again, yada yada yada. But that's what that link was there for. It's just if you if that's one way you can support the channel that doesn't cost you anything and is a great benefit to me. Just use one of those links, and then for the next day or whatever, anything you buy on eBay, I'll get a small commission for that. It's pretty cool. Raymond, thanks for being honest. Yeah, man. You're welcome, I guess. I mean, that's the only way I can see it is like I said before, like people aren't coming here to watch me for my looks, and they're not coming for my comedy. Like I've got to provide value, and part of that is giving good advice, and there's just that's what I want to be known for. I'm not going to tell you a bunch of BS about how, about this new Trae Young or Luka PSA 10 that I bought because I think they're extremely overvalued. I don't care if that's what people want to see, and I don't care if that's what gets views. It's bad advice, and it's kind of irresponsible, and so that's just that. I want to be known for somebody that, gives good advice, and that's all. So, thanks for your question. Jesse, other than prices, do you think other things will change after the hype market comes down, like interest in inserts and parallels? I don't know. One of the things, I don't know. I think that there'll be more leveling out of the parallels based on like rarity. So like right now your Luka Reds are going for just a little bit more than base, like double what, like they're going for like 3,300, I think. Okay, so Luka Reds are numbered to 299. Luka Silvers are not numbered, and there's like there is like 4,500 of them. From my calculations, there's about 4,500 silvers that were printed. Okay, there was 299 reds, and the silvers are selling for 8 to 9 grand, and the reds are selling for 3,300. Like that doesn't make any sense whatsoever. So I think now even at the time when that levels out, will a red be worth $3,300 even if it's worth more than a silver? I don't know. I mean, there's definitely a lot of room for that market of those cards specifically to come down. But yeah, I would see. So like the Luka red, white, and blues, like there's about 2,500 of those that have been graded a 10, and they sell for about the same, if not less, as what the base card sells for. That there's 16,000 of. So yeah, I think there'll be a leveling out, and definitely in like the other players, like you're paying a steep premium for Luka, but if you get into like Colin Sexton, for example, Sexton. Right? Yeah, 2018 was Colin Sexton's rookie year. Or Anthony Simons. Those two guys can still be picked up pretty cheap, especially Anthony Simons, but also Colin Sexton. And so I would look, if I was looking at those guys, I would definitely look at that differential. Like I would buy a red before I would buy a silver, if there's that big of a difference between a red and a silver as what there is in the Luka. Yeah. Jesse, you should clickbait title a video using big names, and then the second the video starts, explain why you shouldn't. Yeah. I feel like I clickbait enough. Like you kind of have to on YouTube. But you have to be careful too, because if people click on your video but they don't watch it, like it's not going to get any traction and it won't go anywhere, and YouTube won't like suggest it or anything. Like I've actually had a really, really good luck with YouTube suggesting, like I think 14% of my videos are either found through search or through suggestions. And Like, that's just YouTube speak. But that's, for me, I feel really good about that. It being a really new, small channel. Like, that tells me that when it comes to my thumbnails, like, I'm getting a good click-through rate. People are clicking when they see my thumbnails. And when they come in, they're actually watching a portion of the videos. Like, I've got one live stream that I put out a couple of weeks ago that in the last week it has like 12 views, but the average view duration is like an hour, which is crazy. And YouTube loves that. Like, they had one of my streams that they started suggesting one night, and it got like, I don't know, 40 or 50 views one night that averaged like a half an hour a piece. Which this is a really small, really new channel, so that doesn't sound like a whole lot, but for this channel, that was a lot. Like, getting 20 hours, 30 hours of watch time overnight for a live stream that I had just been out there for a week or two. It was pretty cool. Raymond, once PSA catches up, that's when the market will come back down. The hype will be gone, and the 3200 Luka will be 320. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I mean, you were getting in that like second to third year where suddenly there are Zions and Ja Morants and Lamelo Ball and other guys that are suddenly new and exciting to watch. And as you get farther away from that rookie year, suddenly Luka and Trae Young, people have been watching them for 4 or 5 years, and now, they're yesterday's news, and they're not that exciting anymore because it's been there, done that, seen that, got the T-shirt, and yeah, that's kind of the way things go. Like, why on earth does a James Harden and a Kevin Durant rookie cards, why did they sell for less than what, a great and proven, but like, has very few years of stats behind him player go for? Like, that's crazy that these guys that have years and years of performance, that tells you where the bottom is. Where is the bottom for a Luka based Prism? It's probably, I don't know. Gosh, I don't know, because there's so many of them, right? So, like, the Harden in a PSA 10, I think, is probably like a $1,500 card. Let's look it up. But there's only like 1,500 of them total. So there's like 10 times more Lukas. What's the bottom for a Luka? I said this the other day. And again, I love Luka. I love watching him. He's awesome. Great to watch. Exciting. Great player. Love the guy. Good person. Great player. Regardless, if somebody told me, I will sell you, like, what would you be willing to pay for a Luka-based Prism under the terms that you have to hold it for 5 years? I don't know what I'd be willing to pay. It would be less than $100. Because not only do I feel like, yeah, there's a chance just through market fluctuations, once people realize how many of these cards are out there, that card drops to, like $300. But also the fact that you are also taking that risk over time that 5 years from now, he's not even in the league anymore. Like, he could get injuries. Look at Klay Thompson. Like, if Luka had the injuries that Klay Thompson's had, so that's why I say, like, if you were to offer me that card under the condition that you have to hold on to it for 5 years, I mean, maybe $100. Maybe I'd buy 5 of them for $100 under that situation. Now, yeah, if I could just go buy them right now for $1,200 and sell them for $1,800, then yippee-yi-yi-ki-yay. But if I got to hold them for 5 years, then yeah, I don't think there's. I wouldn't be willing to take much risk there. MLB Cards Australia, what do you think of the possibility of Barry Bonds or Roger Clemens Making next year's Hall of Fame and what effect could it have on prices? Seems to be a very weak ballot. Ooh, I'm glad you asked. Yes, I think this, I feel like this is the best opportunity that Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens have of making the Hall of Fame. I think there is a really, really, really good chance that they will make the Hall of Fame this year. One of the reasons is that there's no Veterans Committee this year. The only people that are getting voted on is the first ballot people. So in your first 10 years of ballots, if you maintain that certain percentage of votes, that's the only people that are getting votes this year. So it's not getting split up over Veterans Committee and eras and all that stuff. It's only these guys that are still on the ballot for their first round. So you've got Barry Bonds. Really, realistically, I feel like the only people that have a chance are Barry Bonds, Roger Clemens, and Omar Vizquel. Like that should be the class this year. And I feel like every year that goes by, there's less of the old school crowd that thinks the steroid era ruined baseball, and more people getting in that are either over it or honestly, you ask me, I think the steroid era was the most exciting time for baseball. Now, there's a lot of bad things that went along with it, like a lot of the guys that got overlooked that didn't use steroids, but it was very, very exciting. Barry Bonds in the early 2000s was a cheat code. You look at that guy's stats, they are unlike anything that has ever been seen in baseball. Now, was he juicing? Oh, yeah, probably using horse grade steroids. But it was really exciting to watch. So I think every year, and I've been buying Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens just because of that. There's an awesome opportunity. And I was thinking about maybe going on, because actually the 87 Topps Barry Bonds, even the base 87 Topps Barry Bonds, the PSA 10s, there's only 1,300 of them. They were just really not printed well. It didn't hold up very well. A lot of offsetting and stuff like that. So there's only 1,300 of the 10s. But I was thinking about just going out and buying bulk lots of those. Because with this new eBay shipping option, if I buy 100 of those and I can sell 3 of them for $9.99, for $3-4 a piece or whatever, or let's say that Barry Bonds makes it in the Hall of Fame, that's where the opportunity is, because they're not necessarily expected to be a shoe-in for the Hall of Fame. But if they do make it, then there's price opportunity there. People like Derek Jeter that were expected to get into the Hall of Fame, everybody knew they were going to get in, first ballot Hall of Famer, guaranteed to get in first time around. His cards didn't really do much. They have over the years, as he's been seen as that awesome, player of the era, but the Hall of Fame voting didn't really change his cards that much. But with Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens, I think there's a lot of opportunity there, especially right now, January, and the offseason of this baseball year leading up to this year, where I feel like Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens have a very, very good chance of getting into the Hall of Fame. Yeah, I want to buy some big lots of 1987 Topps Barry Bonds and 1985 Topps Roger Clemens, or the different brands or whatever. And then with, like I said, with eBay's new shipping option, you can buy big lots for a small amount per card, and then over the course of time sell those off in lots of 2 or 3 or whatever. And some of them you can probably send them in to get graded, make even more. Army guy, it's because I have great content. Thank you. I really like that. I really appreciate it. I've worked really hard to try to make it watchable, at least, and I want to continue to make not just the main thing is that it's valuable information. That's the number one thing. But then also behind that is to make of the best production quality that I can make. So getting better at Premiere and upgrading my audio and video and all that stuff to try to make a better production value product. So that's where my focus is. First one's on information, because I know a lot of guys out there that they really are smart in this industry, but they do not put a lot of emphasis on their production value of their videos. They don't try to stand out from anybody else. And I don't want people to have to like struggle through my videos to get value from them. Like, I want it to be easy for people, make them somewhat entertaining. Raymond, exactly, that's where you can find the bottom. Your Hardens, Westbrooks, and Durants. Yeah, the guys that have been around. The guys that have performance over years. Yeah, exactly. So, like, Westbrook, the triple-double king of all time. Like, look at how people are looking at him right now. It is disturbing, It is disturbing how cheap Westbrook and Harden and Durant's rookie cards are, compared to these guys that have just gotten in. And I understand it. Like, the market took off. We had COVID. This is the hype. This is what people want to see. This is what puts asses in the seats. But it's disturbing, and that's where you're exactly right. That's where your bottom's at. Bought tons of Curt Schilling. Nice. That's awesome. Curt Schilling. I've bought some Curt Schilling and Larry Walker and Frank Thomas. Yeah. Is Curt Schilling still on the ballot? I thought he made the Hall of Fame. Is he? Because he's one that's got a shot. If he's still on the ballot. Oh, yeah, he's still on the ballot. Yeah, so, it's not guaranteed. Like, we could end up with Omar Vizquel and Curt Schilling getting in, and Bonds and Roger Clemens getting snubbed again. But WAR, wins above replacement, is a really good statistic for looking at Hall of Fame players. Like, there are like certain milestones that you have to get to be considered for the Hall of Fame. And I think it's like 60. If you get to 60 or 70 wins above replacement for your career, you have. Oh, Curt Schilling got 70%. So yeah, he'll probably get in this year. Curt Schilling will probably get in this year. So if you have 60 or 70 wins above replacement for your career, you have like a 50-50 shot of getting in the Hall of Fame. But Bonds and Clemens have like way over 100, which is really high. Like, really high. Because in 2004, Bonds had like 300 walks and 120 of them were intentional. And he hit like some crazy, like 1,400 OPS or something like that. Just insane. Oh my gosh. Yeah, Schilling just barely missed out last year. Wow. You'll look up Schilling. If Bonds and Clemens get in, Pete Rose ought to get in. Yeah. Yeah. I agree. To a certain extent. Yeah, I mean, he should. If Bonds gets in, Pete Rose should get in. Bonds pretty much admitted to using steroids, and it was obvious. But it does, like, he also had a perjury case for lying in a courtroom or whatever about using steroids. So Curt Schilling's Twitter name is Garrig38. Oh, that's funny. That's funny. So Curt Schilling, perfect example. He's got a 79.5 wins above replacement for his career as a pitcher. Dude, awesome. That, like, he's in. Eventually he gets in. I don't know if it's his first go around. I would say this year, yeah, Curt Schilling gets in. Yeah, probably good buys.
Dang, if Bonds and Clemens get in, my man Pete better get in. Yeah. Army guy, that's why folks watch for so long per view. Yeah, I hope so. I hope so. I hope they find value in it. And I probably am a little more entertaining in this format than in just my regular videos, because I'm really learning how to get comfortable on camera in my pre-recorded videos. Quality over quantity. I agree, Jesse. That's what I've really been focusing on lately. A lot of people would tell me at this point in my YouTube channel, like just starting out, that you need to be putting out a lot of quantity, and I understand that, and to a certain extent I know where they're coming from, and I kind of agree with it. Like, you want to get to 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours as quickly as you can, but like the best way to do that is to make really good quality videos with really high information content. That's the best way to do that. So yeah, I'm not in a race right now. I got a good start and got kind of a small community, and now I want to kind of focus on things and continue to work on my production quality while still putting out valuable information. Army guy, he won't get in because of his views. You think Pete won't get in because of his views? Like, was he like racist or something like that? I don't know. I just know he was a player manager. Like, I know he, obviously he was a great hitter over the course of his career. He was a player manager. That's the craziest thing to me, is like he was a player manager in the 80s. Like, not only was he the manager of the team, but he also played on the team. Like, that never happens anymore. It used to be fairly common, but it never happens anymore. Army guy, let me rephrase. I think he hadn't gotten in because of his views. And Roger lied his butt off. Yeah, right. Roger, yeah. Bonds is kind of getting punished because he got, like, he admitted to it, whereas everybody else just lied about it. And they're not looked at as poorly because they lied about it. That's baseball, though. That's baseball. Like, unfortunately, like, the baseball has kind of shown that, it's kind of like pitchers using, like Trevor Bauer, it has been like basically making a joke out of Major League Baseball pitching, because for the longest time he's like, look at my spin rate, and I'm not using a doctored product like a tack or something like that to get more grip on the ball to get a higher spin rate. Spin rate's really important for a pitcher. The higher your spin rate, the better of a pitcher you are, pretty much. So Trevor Bauer, he wasn't using anything. He was still successful, but he was talking about people like Garrett Cole and looking at his spin rate, and he's like, there's absolutely no chance that he's not cheating, that he's not using a product. And he said most of the people in baseball are using something. And then he came out one game in like 2019 and used something, and his spin rate like went up like 30-40%. It went from like 1,800 to 2,300 or something like that, which is just, you can't do it without a product. But then he got so pissed, like he just got fed up with it because he wasn't doing well. He's coming up on his contract year. And so like last year, he just started using stuff all the time. And Major League Baseball is not going to say anything. And I personally think, I'm not going to get too out in the weeds on this, but I think that's a lot of what happened with the Astros too, is everybody knew the Astros were cheating. But I feel like they weren't the only ones, and Major League Baseball wasn't going to say anything about it, because then if you call them out on it, then they're going to come out and they're going to call everybody else out. Like, we weren't the only ones cheating, yada, yada, yada. But for the way that turned out, that's why nobody had said anything, even though every catcher, every home plate umpire, every pitcher knew they were cheating. Like, it's obvious. You're sitting, if the batter can hear it, then if you're the umpire or you're the catcher or you're the pitcher, and every time you throw a changeup, you hear this really odd sound, obviously everybody knew. but they didn't do anything or say anything about it. It just so happens that these people on the internet came out and made this, big expose, and so now they have to address it, right? But because it happened that way, they have to address it, but also they can address it in a way to where the Astros don't feel like they have to call out every other baseball team that probably does the exact same thing. Like, otherwise, why would you be so out in the open about it unless everybody's doing it? Like, that's like you look at pitchers with the pine tar and stuff. Like, you can look on their arm, you can look on their neck, on the on their hat, on whatever. Like, there it is. Like, it's that obvious, And yeah, that's just baseball. Like, it's like a gentleman's agreement. Like, all right, everybody can do this. Like, we're not going to tell anybody, but we're just going to let everybody do it because everybody's already doing it. So I hope that doesn't piss anybody off, but that's just my personal opinion when it comes to the Astros, when it comes to a lot of stuff in baseball. Like, it's not some innocent place where people are all just trying to play by the rules. Like, for years and years and years and years, lots of people have been, say, cheating, but it's understood, like, everybody just does this. It's a gentleman's agreement. So in esports and video games, they have GAs or gentleman's agreements where it's like, okay, we're not using this specific trick or product or whatever, but we are using this. Like, this is what we've agreed upon. In baseball, I feel like it's kind of the same way. Schilling, his views. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm waiting. Wasn't Schilling a big cokehead too? Or am I thinking of somebody else? I thought Schilling was he had a big coke thing. I think Clemens, basically, wait, let me take that back. Every baseball player in the 80s had a big coke thing. They loved cocaine. Raymond, yeah, I'm waiting for you to throw a chair. Steve Wilkos. I should throw more chairs. That's what I should do. I should throw more chairs. That would really put asses in the seats. Chile is an outspoken conservative and has been crushed for his views. Oh, I didn't know that. Huh. That's weird. But lots of popular people are pretty out in the open about their politics, whether they're conservative or liberal or whatever. So that's weird that he would be singled out for that. Didn't think about that. He's been attacked for his views. Baseball is a business. They can't come out and say we caught a team cheating. Right. Yeah, that's kind of how I feel about it. They don't want to draw any negative attention. And, when the Astros got caught, they didn't get caught by baseball. Everybody already knew. They got caught by a bunch of guys on the internet. So then Major League Baseball comes out and is like, all right, guys, we got to go through the whole song and dance. Go tell everybody you're sorry. And I think it was really cheap that a bunch of guys around baseball, like Mike Trout and Aaron Judge and all these guys, came out and were talking all this trash when they knew all of this was going on. They all knew all this was going on. So for them to come out and talk all this trash after the fact, I feel like is wrong. I don't like that they're going to come out and say, yeah, and everybody in baseball's doing it. It's like, oh yeah, the Astros cheaters, and they stole the MVP from they stole the World Series and they stole the MVP, and all right, well, maybe so, yada yada, whatever. But you're telling me you kept your mouth shut for 3 years and then now you're gonna come out and talk trash? That's kind of cheap in my opinion, but whatever. So it's like an unwritten rule. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think, it's more of an unwritten rule. Yeah. It's not, it's more of just, yeah. Nobody's going to say anything because they're not the only ones doing it. Just the same way as pitchers using pine tar or resin or whatever to get more spin on the ball, or guys doing coke in the 80s, or guys doing steroids in the 90s, or whatever. Like, it's just always been that way. It's like we're not going to bring attention to it because everybody's doing it, basically. Everyone cheats. Yeah. It looks that, and I think it looks that way. Like, yeah, Astros are the ones that got caught. That's kind of how I feel about it. It wasn't right, but I don't think they were the only ones doing it either. They all probably were coking it up for sure. Oh gosh, you guys really need to watch Secret Base. Secret Base is one of my top 5 favorite YouTube channels. And oh gosh, who is that guy they talk about? They do all these like statistics and chart based shows on different players and different teams. They're based out of Seattle. Who is the guy they did that one on? The guy that used to he played for the Cardinals and he played for the Royals. And he did a bunch of coke in the 80s. And they were talking about how everyone did coke in the 80s. And how they like came out and were talking about it. It's so funny. Oh my gosh. What is that guy's name? Let's see. He was on the Braves in 91. Atlanta Braves. Let's see. Infielders. Outfielders. Lonnie Smith. Oh, this video is so good. Secret Base Lonnie Smith is the coolest video ever. Like, he had a murder plot to murder his general manager. Oh, it's so good. I know he's got a video on Lonnie Smith. Where is it? It's called like My Favorite Baseball Player Ever or something like that. Pretty good. Episode 3. Lonnie Smith. Yeah, I'll drop this link in here. If y'all get a chance, this is an awesome video. Let's see. I'm not going to watch it on here because I'll have to cut it out of my live stream maybe later, but I'll put the link in here. Media writers tend to be liberal. Yeah, I think that's for the most case. Like, most of your writers are going to lean more liberal. But yeah, I definitely don't want to get political in here, and I appreciate you. I appreciate you touching on it like that. You did it the right way, so I really appreciate that. Raymond, every stat sheet I like using is the Baseball Reference Guide to collecting all the numbers you need. I really like that. You mean Baseball Reference stats? That barrel thing? Especially for the modern rookies. Yeah. You mean like this Baseball Reference? Like, this is what that's what I use for all my baseball stats. For the most part. The barrels is StatCast leaderboards, and it's a website called Baseball Savant. And you'll see there's a YouTube channel called Foolish Baseball, and he talks about Baseball Savant and StatCast in the StatCast era a lot. But yeah, guys betting on baseball, Yeah, have y'all ever heard the conspiracy theory that that's why Michael Jordan went to the minors is because he got caught betting on basketball and not on the Bulls, but betting on sports or betting on basketball, and instead of getting like it was like a unspoken suspension, like and so that's he went. He just told everybody he was gonna try to play professional baseball and went to the minors for a year and a half and then came back. I don't know, but it's a little bit odd to see the. It is a little bit odd to see the best basketball player maybe ever to just decide that I'm going to go try to play baseball for a couple of years. That's kind of interesting to me. But yeah. Uh, so baseball is just corrupt through and through. Baseball makes no sense. The more you get into baseball, the more it makes absolutely zero sense. Oh. Um, yeah. Yeah. It kind of is. Kind of is. It's awesome. Gotta love it. Yeah. Army guy. One dude threw a perfect game on LSD. Who was that? That's true, though. Or supposedly it's true. Um, Doc Ellis. Doc Ellis. Oh, I've got some Doc Ellis cards. Dropped acid and threw a no-hitter. Oh, gosh. I'm totally going to watch a video about this later. That's so funny. I knew that, but I didn't. I had the acid in me, he says. Raymond Clevenger. Daryl Strawberry, Deion Sanders, Michael Irvin, and MC Hammer snorting coke, doing steroids, and talking about cheating so they can win their sports bets as Pete Rose was their dealer. Oh, yeah, it's probably more true than you think. Really. Yeah. There's and then there's the guys like in all of life, that are just like they're straight edge guys like Bo Jackson and Ken Griffey Jr. I don't think ever like did any performance enhancing drugs, and probably never did any drugs whatsoever. We're just freak athletes, Doc Elson documentary is amazing. There's a documentary on Netflix. I'm trying to see if I can find like one from one of the channels that I watch, because I know they're like fun. Like they always make good videos. Oh, have y'all ever seen this kid, Blaze Jordan? Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. This kid's 15 years old and hits 500-foot home runs. Which kind of, Bryce Harper was kind of like that. But yeah, if you've never seen this kid, Blaze Jordan, he was hitting 500-foot home runs when he was 14. And I think right now he's like 15. Yeah. Ridiculous. Redonkulous. Absolutely redonkulous. I think this is it. No. It's so weird. Jesse, this is both sad but funny. Yeah. Yep. Pretty much. It's kind of like the pride you take in the fact that these sports have been able to survive at all, let alone for the last 100 years or whatever. Is just like, this is both sad but funny. Yeah, pretty much. You know Doc Ellis? Army guy? You know Doc Ellis personally? That's interesting. You know Blaze Jordan personally. Oh wow. He's got drafted by the Red Sox? He's in Mississippi? Yeah, that's right. I couldn't remember if he, a lot of guys, a lot of those young guys come out of Texas, but yeah, I remember that now that he's from Mississippi. Your buddy built his personal batting cage at his house. He gave me a game signed and baseball signed. Wow. Yeah. Blaze Jordan. That kid is impressive. Oh my gosh. That is just so weird and impressive to watch that kid hit 500-foot home runs, and then also, like, he seems like a really cool kid. Real, Mississippi guy, kind of soft spoken, seems pretty humble. That goes a long ways in sports, and life in general. He's committed to Mississippi State. Bonnie, you do have excellent content as a great personality. That's why I tune in. Well, thank you. I'm glad you do. Thank you. That's very. I'm flattered. Flattered. Army guy. I watched the Notre Dame bowl game at his house 2 years ago. That's surreal, dude. At Blaze Jordan's house. Wow. That is surreal. It really is. Like that. I mean, Bryce Harper is the last guy to come out of that amateur home run derby that put on that kind of show at that kind of age. So yeah, if he comes out, he could come out and be the best player in baseball in 3-4 years. Sports Illustrated wanted to do a Bryce Harper story on him, but his mom nixed it to keep him humble. Oh, wow. That's cool. And his mom's probably really smart because, regardless of how much money or attention that would have got him, in the long run, he's probably way, way, way ahead not doing it and, having that big head. He skipped his commitment and signed with the Red Sox. That's probably a good idea. Like, you want to take your however many $1 million signing bonus and miss out on college, or go to college and take the chance of getting hurt really bad and wind up with nothing. Like, I'm probably going to go with the Red Sox. Probably going to go with the Red Sox. Raymond, yeah, buddy, was going to bed. Now I've been watching and typing for 30 minutes. Yes, that's what I'm here for. Is helping people to do what they want, not what they need to do. Well, hey, I'm gonna take a short break and then I'll come back. So if any of y'all feel like you need to get on with your life or anything, then feel free. But I'm gonna take about a 5-minute break and then I'll be back. And if y'all have any question, anything you want to look into or whatever, just let me know. But I'm having a lot of fun. So what do I think about GMA? Don't use GMA. That's I get that question pretty often, but yeah, don't use GMA for sure. If I'm not able to answer that question more fully before I get back, don't use GMA. All right, I'll see you guys in about 5 minutes. Some things never change, right? Anyways, Army guy, if you're still here, have a good night. Thanks for watching. That's awesome. You got that Colin Sexton for $40. I think that's a good deal for a red out of $2.99. I think Colin Sexton has a lot of opportunity. Yeah, GMA. They're just inconsistent. Like, you'll get a GMA that's graded at 10, and it's probably an 8 or less if you go through PSA or something like that. But it might be a 10. So, you can get them cheap. You can crack them and resubmit them. There's an opportunity there. And even if they're not, even if they come back an 8, or even if, an 8 for modern cards is pretty close to what raw cards sell for. So even if you crack them and you don't think they'll come back in 8, you can still sell them raw and make most of your money back. So there's pretty good opportunity there. But yeah, I think Colin Sexton's an awesome opportunity right now. He's exciting. His numbers are trending up. And yeah, I think that's a good buy. For $40, yeah. Hey, Sir Charles, what's happening? What is crack-a-lackin'? Glad to see you. Thanks for being here. I just took a break, so my my audience has dropped off a little bit, but that's okay. The diehards are still going strong, so thanks for being here. We were just talking about Doc Ellis throwing a no-hitter on LSD, which is a thing that happened in baseball. one of those odd things that happened in baseball. Earlier, Charles, I was talking about barrels, which is a new StatCast statistic that measures exit velocity and launch angle of a ball. And when your exit velocity and launch angle are within a certain parameters, that ball has, if it is fair, has a 80% chance of getting a hit. So barreled balls on average garner an 800 batting average. So when you're looking at a lot of these players, like Fernando Tatis is number 1 in barreled balls. So your exit velocity is kind of a metric of how close to the sweet spot you hit the ball at. And then your launch angle is where that ball goes from that point on. So if your launch angle, is positive, you're going to hit a long drive, a line drive, or a hard fly ball. A lot of times I have a chance of hitting a home run. Keep plugging along. Love the videos. Well, good. Thank you. I'm glad you enjoy them. I'm glad anybody enjoys them, really. This whole YouTube experience has been really surprising, but I definitely, want to provide the best content I can and want to help people and do as good as they can in the industry. So I'm really glad you're enjoying them. I'm really excited. I think probably Tuesday evening, I will be able to release that first unopened video, which is really a deep dive into the numbers behind 2018 Prism. That'll be the first one. It's the defining product of this new sports card boom. So I'm diving into it and seeing, going off of sales numbers, past sales numbers, and just estimating like what you could reasonably expect from a single box of 2018 Prism that goes for like $5,000 right now. So only looking at a regular hobby box, not first off the line, not mega box or blasters or hangers or anything else. It's just diving into, you know, this is your odds. This is how many cards are in a box. This is your odds of getting each card. It's been a lot of work. There's a lot of watching breaks to come up with, you know, your averages and researching other people that have put data together based on watching breaks. There's probably altogether like I had 2 other sources. There's probably 100 hours of watching breaks, pulling data out of breaks to try to get, you know, what your odds are of pulling a red or a blue or an orange or a, you know, silvers are easy. There's 6 per box, you know, and then going through all of the PSA sales, prior sales, and getting numbers from them. So I'm pretty excited about that, and I hope it does well. I think it's really important because there's nothing out there that I can find, at least in videos, that says that it makes any type of an argument whatsoever of, you know, this is what your expected return would be from a box of 2018 Prism, you know. And for something that costs that much, you would think that somebody would be looking into those numbers and saying, okay, well, how much is it worth? It costs $5,000, but how much is it worth? Jesse, really can't wait for the eBay envelope thing because I've been looking at a lot of good single card deals, but shipping is insane. Yeah, I agree. I've been looking at a lot of lots, like bigger lots of cards that I can buy for cheap and then break down into 2 or 3 or 4 card small lots and sell those with the, you know, 51 to 91 cent shipping or whatever it is, and get some return that way. Jesse, hey, a question about when you charge shipping on eBay. Some people be charging like $4 to $5 for a single card. Is it because first class in their area is that much, or do people just get a small cut of that for the shipping fee? Yeah, people can just charge whatever they want for shipping. eBay does make it, your eBay account, your listings will do a lot better if you do free shipping. If you do free shipping and 1 day handling, then that's what they consider. And if you allow for, I think, 14-day returns or more, then that's what they consider fast and free. So there's different things that eBay wants you to do that will help you rank a lot higher in your listings. So on that first page of listings. But yeah, people can ask whatever they want for shipping. And, you know, but if they put on their first class or priority or whatever, then they need to provide that. They can't be putting on there, you know, $8 for priority shipping and then ship you a plain white envelope that takes a week to get there. You know, they shouldn't be, but they can. It happens, but they shouldn't be doing it that way. Sir Charles just picked up LeBron James 03 Upper Deck City Heights rookie. Oh, I like that. I like those. I like those a lot. Congratulations. I think those are those inserts, those 03 Upper Deck inserts are a great value right now. Like I really like that Air Academy insert that I showed on that video. But I saw those City Heights, and those are good too. A lot of those Upper Deck inserts are really good. And again, the population numbers on them are super low. Look up the City Heights. Just got to be careful. Yeah, that I was looking at those. Those are cool. I like those. And if we go over and look at the population on them, I think they're pretty low. Let's see here. There was a lot of inserts in that year. Why is it not? Hold on a second. I need to look up. One good way if you're ever having trouble looking something up, look at the label. Oh, that's a redemption. Oh wow. Huh. Okay. So, Upper Deck basketball. Redemption special. LeBron. Okay, so there's about 1,000 of those that are a 10. If it's the same one, which I'm pretty sure it is. Well, I don't know. Huh. That's what it says, though. That's the redemption special. Upper Deck redemption special. City Heights. That's a cool card, though. It's a really cool card. Like that. Like that. Sir Charles, I think it's shipping and handling, so I think some people take a small cut, but you have to remember they have to pay eBay fees. Plus padded envelopes in some cases. Yeah. Yeah, it was a redemption card. Yeah, packaging can be expensive. Matt over at PSA Collector, he just did a short 1 minute video just about how you should always save your bubble mailers whenever you get cards in. Like, try not to tear them up because you can just reuse them. Because they're kind of expensive. Like, if you don't buy a big quantity, you can pay $1 a piece for those. So if you're selling a card for $10, and then you take $1.30 in eBay and PayPal fees, and then, like, right now, $3 for shipping with tracking, and then $1 for a padded mailer, it adds up, But, like say soon that shipping fee with tracking is going to go down. But yeah, I actually bought a bunch of 6x6 by 4-inch boxes because they were cheaper than padded mailers. And, I could use them for shipping like just a few cards, or I could use them for shipping more than that, other than a padded mailer. Those boxes I could ship like a clear, like jewel case of 50 or 100 cards or something like that in those, whereas can't do that in the padded mailers. But yeah, there's definitely a cost there with those. You'd be surprised. Even those like not padded, like just the bag mailers, like I feel like they're kind of expensive, but definitely the padded mailers. Like if you go up here, let's see. Padded mailers. Let's see. Oh, I guess it's not too. Here's 200 for $8. Well, maybe I'm messed up. 500. What? Hold on. Size. 5 by. Let's just go with the smallest. 4 by 7. Quantity. Oh yeah, 50. So 50 of them, $8.50. That's not bad. It's like 43 cents a piece. So that's not too bad. 4 by 7. That's about, you don't need any bigger than that for shipping cards, really. Just a few cards. If you get 100, They're 13 cents a piece. That's pretty cheap. What was 50? 8.53. No, so 50 of them would be 17 cents a piece. 100, 13 cents a piece. Huh. Those are a lot cheaper than I thought they were. Sir Charles, it can get expensive for all the extras here in Canada. Keep hearing from local card shops that top loaders are getting harder and harder to get. Yeah, top loaders are. There was a huge, supply issue for the last couple months. A lot of people didn't notice it, but definitely your card shops noticed it. They couldn't get their bulk supply, so if you go over to BCW's website and we go to Toploaders, I don't think they have any in stock. I don't think you can buy them off their website right now. At least a while, not very long ago, you couldn't. So, these are mag cases. Where's just the... Oh, sleeves and top loaders. There we go. Yeah, so all these team bags, back order. What? This back order available July 5th, 2021. Oh my gosh. So tall trading card sleeves January 28th, which is bad enough. Here's your semi-rigid, your card savers that you would use to submit to PSA. So, August 6th of next year, here's your regular 3x4 top loaders. July 21st. Weird. What's the difference here? Standard, premium. Those are the premium. Okay, so the standard top loaders, the 25 packs are supposed to be back January 6th. And then the 100 pack is January 26th. But yeah, then the rookies are supposed to be back sooner. But yeah, there's definitely an issue with supplies. Yeah, most of the stores I've been to have had top loaders and stuff like that. I buy a lot of stuff off Amazon. But I also will, if I need supplies, I'll try to get them through a local card shop. But, yeah, a lot of times it's just cheaper to go through Amazon or eBay. And, right now, they don't have a lot of stuff. Do you collect comic books, Bonnie? Or do you buy and sell any comic books? You say your comic book store has top loaders and stuff. Is it free shipping for those bubble mailers? I think so. Yeah, free shipping. Here. I'll put the link down there. I don't know if this is hold on. Give me just a second. I don't know that that's necessarily the best deal on eBay right now for padded mailers or whatever, but I'll go ahead and put a link. That's a starting point anyways. COVID is slowing a lot down. I'm from Ontario, Canada, and we might be going back into a lockdown. Yeah, I can't believe we haven't gone into a lockdown. As much as the numbers have gone up over the last couple months, it's really surprising to me that we haven't gone back into some type of lockdown. But it's just the fact that, Americans like won't, they're not willing to cooperate with a lockdown. So there's not, and that's what back in March or April, a friend of mine is a drill instructor in the Air Force or in the Navy, and he said that they were locked down on base. This was before anybody else got locked down. And he said they were locked down on base, and he was able to go home for like a week. And then when he got a new class of recruits in, then he had to go back and lock down again. And he said it's probably going to be like that for at least a year. And I said, well, why is it that, like, you all are planning on this for a year, but the American public, you know, the politicians and everything are saying basically we're going to do this for a month and then we're going to quit doing it. And he said it's just because people aren't willing to do it. Like they're not willing to lock down and they're going to throw a fit about it. So there's nothing the government can really do outside of, like, they can try, but it just hurts them as far as the politicians and everything. Because if people aren't going to do it, they're just not going to do it. They're not going to lock them up or anything for not doing it. And so it makes things worse. So he said, yeah, it would be in the best interest of everyone to do a more stringent lockdown, but it's just not going to happen because the American public won't cooperate, basically. It's like the TP pandemic. Yeah, it's the sports cards version of the TP pandemic. Jesse, Americans complain about rising cases but keep going out. Yeah, pretty much. I did see Toploaders in sleeves today. That's cool. Sir Charles, people here are the opposite. Majority want the government to shut it down. When I go out, 99% of people are messed up. Yeah. And a lot of people, I think I'll just do this and then we'll get off the whole mask thing because I really don't want to get too off topic. But I really feel bad for the older people in our society because when you go out, 90% of people over the age of 60 are wearing a mask because it's really, really serious for them. And I feel like this whole time, the message that we've put forward is we really don't care about you. And that's really sad. And I can just see it, when I go out to the grocery store or whatever, like these people are scared for good reason. Like they're dying at a pretty high rate, pretty high clip. But, yeah, I think that's one of the worst things that's come out of this whole thing is that I feel like that's the message we've sent to our elderly is that you're not, like, your life's not important. It's terrible. But anyways, we'll get off of that. I try not to talk about too much off-topic stuff on here as best I can anyways. I want to look more into this StatCast, this balls-barreled leaderboard. I'm surprised. Like, a lot of guys surprise me they don't have more. Their cards don't have more traction. Matt Chapman, I think his could get traction. Salvador Perez, I love Salvador Perez. Go Royals. Amazing guy, amazing catcher, amazing hitter, but he plays for the Royals, so I get it. Like you're not going to get much hobby love if you play for the Royals. That's just the way it is. Freddie Freeman, I do expect his stuff to keep going up. Jose Abreu is an interesting one, because he's been putting up MVP numbers. For the last couple of years. Yeah, like 3.1 WAR last season in whatever it was, like 50 games or whatever. That's crazy. Like last season, he led the league in RBIs, slugging, total bases, and GDP. I don't know I don't know what GDP is. But anyways, he's led the league in it the last 2 years. And won the MVP this year. But Jose Abreu's 33. He's gonna be 34 by the end of this year. Like within the next week, he's gonna be 34. No, not within the next week. In like a month, he's gonna be 34 years old. Before next season starts. You know? So MVP, Rookie of the Year, 5 times he's been in the MVP voting. Three All-Stars. How did he win the MVP this year and not get in the All-Star? So he must have had a really strong last part of the season, I guess. I don't even know how they all was there an All-Star game this year? Maybe there wasn't. Am I totally messed up? Did they not even have an All-Star game this year? I don't even know. So did they pick All-Stars, though? Is what I'm wondering. Well, I know a way to look it up. Let's see here. Mike Trout, right? So if Mike Trout didn't have an All-Star appearance this year, then they didn't pick All-Stars. Yeah, so they didn't pick All-Stars for this year. Okay, that makes sense. Is Aaron Judge in the list? That's a good question. That's a really good question. He's somewhere in the list. Well, I say that. Apparently not. Hold on a second here. What? How is he not on the list? That can't be right. He's got to be on the list. There's no way he's not on the list. He's not on the list. He's not in the top 257 in barreled balls. There's no way. There's no way. But that is a really good question, because there's already, the question's already out that how is Aaron Judge going to hold up? As big as he is, how is he going to hold up over time, right? So if he also doesn't do well as far as barrels, like if his... Now he almost has to have a pretty good barrel rate. Barrel percentage. 11.6. He was in the top 2%, 1%, 2% of the league. In barrels and exit velocity, he's still pretty good. Like his barrels should be pretty good, but he wasn't on that list. Why was he not on that list? That's weird. So, I mean, his percentage is high. Like 2017, he had 25.7 barrel percentage. I think that's out of batted balls. Yeah. So out of the balls he hit, 87 were barrels, which is pretty good. With an average exit velocity of 94.9. Right? So, like this season, he had 11.6. Like, he had 69 batted balls on 487 pitching attempts. Or whatever pitches with 8 barrels. So his barrel percentage went down quite a bit. It's the same as it was in 2016, and it's only over a short span. But his strikeout percentage also went down. His walk percentage went down. He's a tough one. He's a tough one for sure, because as big as he is, I mean, it's going to be hard for him to age well. He's 6'7", 282 pounds, right? So his size is going to make it hard for him to age well, right? They need to move him to first base, like right now, but they can't with their current lineup unless they don't sign DJ LeMahieu back, because of like the way they need to move things around. But if they could move him to first base, these numbers say his hitting will hold up. If his body holds up, I mean, his hitting will hold up for the most part. He's still going to strike out a lot, and he's not going to walk a whole lot, but he does have a pretty good barrel percentage of the balls that he hits. He's probably gonna hit a lot of home runs still. Got any football predictions? I was liking the Saints to go far this year, but they have lost 2 in a row. Look a little shaky. I mean, I don't have any predictions. I think it will be interesting to see. The Chiefs definitely, have probably. I mean, I feel like have the best chance of winning the Super Bowl this year, but also like being a Chiefs fan and watching pretty much every game. One thing that scared me this year. Now, this year's different than last year. Last year, they had to come back from deficits a lot more this year. This year, all they are having to do is hold a lead. But what I've seen a lot this year is once they get up by a couple touchdowns, they kind of let off the gas. That worries me, because once you get into the playoffs, it's a lot harder to. Those teams are playing a lot harder. A 2-touchdown lead is not that big of a deal in the playoffs. They know this. They've been through it before. They went through it last year. But, I'm a huge Chiefs fan. I want to see them win the Super Bowl. It would not surprise me if they get beat in the playoffs. That would not surprise me. And that's why. Like the one game they lost this year against the Raiders, that's kind of what happened. Like they let off the gas and they got beat. And that had happened. I had watched that happen a couple games in a row before that. Sir Charles, a GDP situations exists anytime there is a man on first with less than 2 outs. Okay? This statistic measures how often a player grounds into a double play. Oh, okay. So Jose Abreu grounded into a double play less out of those situations, less than anybody else. That's awesome. Okay, cool. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Thanks for looking that up. That's good to know. Chiefs looking good to win it again. Mahomes is a beast. Yeah. Probably Giancarlo Stanton is on the list. Aaron Judge's cards are dipping quite a bit. Have dipped quite a bit. I mean, he was the cat's meow in 2017. He was the thing. And then 2018 it was Ohtani, right? Or was that 2019? But anyways, yeah, Aaron Judge was the it thing. Miss Thing. But that's the whole question is, are his best days behind him? Which, that's the question with Bryce Harper too. But that's why I go back to this and say, no, I don't think that Bryce Harper is that same uh, category, because he's just on average he stays more healthy. He has a lot of barrels, averages 92.5. So what was his? Let's see here. Yeah, he's got a lot better chance of staying in the leaderboards, in the top of the leaderboards over time. I don't feel like, I'm not very bullish on Aaron Judge. There are other guys that I feel like have a better opportunity that are in that kind of age group. So Bryce Harper, Alex Bregman, Matt Chapman, Freddie Freeman, that are kind of in that coming up on 30 group. Or I think Freddie Freeman, he might be 30 years old. That with a couple, like one or two good seasons, their cards will get more attention. I feel like Freddie Freeman's like right on the brink. Like his cards, I feel like are right on the brink of getting some serious attention. This is a guy that's dang near a shoe-in for the Hall of Fame. Almost. He's almost a shoe-in for the Hall of Fame. And one of the, something that you can't measure, but it is also important when it comes to the Hall of Fame, he is almost beloved. He is considered the nicest guy in baseball. Freddie Freeman is. And it's great. Even opposing fans love Freddie Freeman. So that's pretty interesting. I find that really interesting. Jesse, I've seen this past couple weeks. We got up 2 to 3 touchdowns, and then we're only a field goal ahead. Yes, exactly. Normally they're up enough to where it's not that big a deal, but that's not always going to be the case. It's sooner or later, and that's what I feel like when I say about the playoffs is you get in that situation where you're in the fourth quarter and you're up by 10 points. It only takes one game where, somebody has a ball fall their way or an interception or whatever, and you're done. You're done. That's not a good position to be in the playoffs. It's one thing when you're playing as hard as you possibly can and you're up 10 points. It's definitely better to be up 10 points than it is to be behind. But it's a complete another thing whenever you're just playing hard enough to win the game. And I feel like this year has that's kind of been the Chiefs' downfall, is they play hard enough to win the game. Now they've done it 12 out of 13 times, or 13 out of 14 now, or whatever, but I feel like that's kind of been their MO this year. It's human nature, you always run harder when you're getting chased. Yeah, I feel you. Yeah, it's hard to keep focused when you're that good. No, I agree. I agree. I understand it, but I do. It does worry me a little bit when it comes to, are the Chiefs going to win another Super Bowl? Well, if they're just playing hard enough to win the game through the playoffs, then that, that's going to be tough. It's going to be that much tougher. Jesse, I've been really discouraged in collecting recently because of prices and hype. It can be hard to navigate card collecting when the market is fluctuating so much. Yeah, I agree. I agree completely. I think there are some guys, regardless of the market, that are good buys right now. Definitely. And there's some guys that are coming up on, like, they either need to have, like, breakout, or they're going to be a role player for the rest of their career. So when you go look at guys from that 2016 and 2017 class, there's a lot of guys I like from that class. Brandon Ingram, Bam, Jason Tatum's put on a lot of weight, like muscle, and he's also in that position where he's kind of leading the team and, gets a lot more attention. So I think there's some guys there that I don't know about Tatum. Like he's already got kind of a premium on his cards, but I definitely think there's some guys there that are undervalued regardless of what the market. Like that's one of the opportunities with the market the way it is, where 90% of the money goes to like 2 or 3 guys, or 4 guys or whatever. That leaves a lot of holes where, you can pick stuff up for cheap of guys that have a lot of opportunity. So, like, Kevin Durant, like, his cards are way, way undervalued because people don't know what he's going to do when he comes back with this Achilles. If he comes out and he's Kevin Durant again, his cards are going to go up, pretty much guaranteed to go up. He comes out and he's a lesser version of Kevin Durant, then not so much. I don't think you'll lose money, or not much, on a Kevin Durant rookie card, but you're not going to see a big increase. It's a risk you take. I think it's a risk worth taking with Kevin Durant stuff, but it is a risk you take. I do think there's a lot of opportunities even in the modern market. Thinking about maybe just leaving and watching sports to just improve my game knowledge and come back when I know more and the market has come down to more of a regular level. Yeah, always jump around. Like, I definitely, I would always look at different opportunities. So I don't invest in soccer. I don't invest in hockey because I don't really know anything about it. And at this point, I'm not trying to seek out another place to look into. Football, I don't look as closely at, just for the reason we've talked about. Like, injuries are really prevalent. Quarterbacks make up most of the market. It's really, you can have a guy like LaDainian Tomlinson or Marshall Faulk, where you've got a Hall of Fame running back that their cards really don't have much value to this point, but I would look back into different eras, whether it's like 2000 to 2010, the guys that are vets now, or if it's like retired Hall of Famers from the 90s, like Kevin Durant, Tim Duncan, Paul Pierce, Dirk Nowitzki, and Vince Carter are all guys that are getting in the Hall of Fame right now, are either just got in or getting ready to get into the Hall of Fame, and their cards have a lot of opportunity. Guys like Carmelo Anthony that are guaranteed to get into the Hall of Fame pretty much. I know Carmelo Anthony's 2003 Topps Chrome, you could pick them up for like $50 not very long ago, which I think is crazy, but it's another thing where it's like out of sight, out of mind. Like, Carmelo Anthony's not who everybody's lining up to watch right now, but he had an amazing career and he's pretty much guaranteed to be in the Hall of Fame. So there's a lot of opportunity there, I feel like. But yeah, so that, look at different eras, look at different, sports maybe, sit back and enjoy yourself, Basketball season just started. Don't feel like you have to be buying sports cards. Definitely don't feel like that, because you don't. Like, you got cash money. Cash money is cash money. Like, it's going to be worth, what it's worth or more, almost guaranteed. So don't feel like you have to buy anything. And there's always, it's not like this, you're missing out. There's always going to be opportunities. The market's never going to be accurately priced. I mean, unless they come out with some really ridiculous computer data driven algorithm that fairly prices cards based on all kinds of different factors and stuff like that. I've been thinking about that lately. There's definitely a chance that somebody puts something like that together, of an algorithm that just goes through and finds buying opportunities in cards that people don't see based on rarity and statistics and all kinds of different things, public opinion, whatever. You could set it up to where it takes into account Google trending search words. So if somebody's searching more, if the search volume for Frank Thomas has been increasing month over month for the last 6 months, then you should be investing in Frank Thomas because his cards are going to get more attention or whatever. I could see that being a thing, but that's a cold, ridiculous tangent. You should never feel like you have to be investing in sports cards because you're going to miss out. Fear of missing out should not be a reason you buy or sell, really. Just enjoy it. It's meant to be a hobby. It's meant to be enjoyable. Sir Charles, do you like to keep your cards in top loaders or one touch? I find that card moves a bit in a one touch. Yeah. Top loaders. Sleeves and top loaders. If if I get a card that I want to, that I feel like is good enough that I want to get it graded either now or I feel like I will want to get it graded down the line. So so certain cards in a PSA 9 might not be worth grading right now, right? So even if I send a card in and I think it has a good chance of getting a PSA 10, I'm going to be looking at the PSA 9 price. So if that card comes back a PSA 9 and PSA 9s are selling for 15 or 20 bucks and the 10s are selling for 60 to 75, then that's a card that I'll probably hold on to and say, well, I'm going to wait until that PSA 9 is selling for 40, and then I'll send it in to get graded. At least if I want to sell it, I'm making a little bit off of it. Anyways, roundabout thing here is if I get that card, whether it's through eBay or I pull it out of a pack or whatever, if I feel like it's good enough that I'm going to be wanting to get it graded, then I'll go ahead and sleeve it and move it into a card saver. Prepare it to go ahead and send to the grading company. That way I don't have to touch it again. I don't have to move it to something different. One touches I think are really great for thicker cards, like patch cards and stuff like that. But I don't think, as far as protecting the cards, I don't think they're that much better than a sleeve and a top loader or a card saver. Like I say, if I'm gonna, you can't put a real thick card in a card saver. You've gotta either use a thick top loader or a one touch, and if it's a fairly valuable card, then I'd use a one touch. Sir Charles, I totally hear you, Jesse. It's hard to keep up. Yeah, it is. It's overwhelming. And so many people are in your face telling you, buy now, buy now, buy now. And that's silly. I even title stuff that way, but you really shouldn't feel that way. Because you don't have to. And, there's always good opportunities out there. There is some stuff, 2001 Topps baseball home team advantage sets. I would like to buy every one that comes across eBay for the prices that they're going at. If I could find cases of 1990 score baseball factory sets, I would buy those up and not think twice about it because they've got the bow breaker in them, and the bow breakers at in a PSA 10 are going for like 180, I think. Not the bow breakers, the bow dual sport, the one where he's got like football pads. I've got one of them, and a baseball bat behind his neck. Those are only in the factory sets, and there's 16 factory sets to a case, and the cases go for like $260 with shipping, or like $300 with shipping. So for 16 chances as at a bow football baseball PSA 10, plus all the other cards that are in there, like second year Griffey, Frank Thomas rookie, Larry Walker rookie, Sammy Sosa rookie, Deion Sanders rookie. I think those are all rookies. If not, they're like, there's a lot of rookies in that set. There is some stuff. 1998 Topps basketball hobby boxes, Series 2 hobby boxes at the prices they're going at for like $250 for a hobby box. I'd like to be buying all of the... There's some really good opportunities out there, in my opinion, of what I see, but it can definitely be overwhelming, and you definitely should never feel like you have to buy anything now, because even if that opportunity passes you by, there's 1,000 more waiting, you know? And I have trouble with that, like everybody does. You have to remind yourself of that. Like, I'm not out anything if I don't buy this right now. There's other opportunities down the line, and you know, there's a ton of opportunities. So don't ever feel like you have to buy anything. And honestly, in this market, like as hyped and as high as the market is, it's probably a terrible time to be buying anything. It's at least modern stuff. Like, the player could do amazing, and still 3 years from now, that card could be worth half of what you paid for it, even if you pay a good price for it. Like, I don't feel that way. Like, I bought 2 premier level Brandon Ingram rookies for $20 a piece, 2016 select. So that card, if Brandon Ingram does as good as he did last year and continues that, that's a good buy in my opinion. But that's before they started doing these huge increases in print runs. So like Select hasn't done that. Select, I think, is a pretty good opportunity. So like even Optic, if we look at 2019 Select pop numbers, and we'll just look at the Zion courtside, or not courtside, the Zion concourse, which is like the base. So there's only been 24,000 2019 select cards graded, period, total, right? So the fact that those are going for less than Prism, of which there's been like 150,000 graded, is just dang ridiculous. Yeah, 1,500 Zion Select Concourse 10s, and that's not giving me anything. But yeah, but then Optic, I think even Optic is pretty high up there. And I'm not saying that every brand is the same and population numbers are all that matter by any means. But when you take a brand like Select that is a premium brand, it's in those top premium brands, and you compare it to Prism and Optic and Mosaic, like, you can make a pretty good comparison there. And when you have way, way, way lower population numbers and you have lower prices to go along with it, like, that to me is a no-brainer. Like, that's the one I want to buy. That's maybe old school thinking, but I don't care. Like, you can't convince me that that's not the right way to look at it. Like, I've been doing this for a long time. I know the power of rarity. So, for instance, like, yeah, 4,500 Optic, base Zion 10s. And Select doesn't have as many parallels and different things either. They do have some, but not as many. But yeah, 4,500 compared to 1,500 Select, so 3 times as many optic base 10s. And here, just for example, let's look at this is where I'm coming from. 1971 Topps Baseball is my favorite vintage set and is very hard to get in a high grade. So only 242 10s have been granted out of this entire set. And less than 10,000 9s, right? So let me show you something here that's really crazy. Topps PSA 9. So the PSA 9s in Topps Baseball, if we look at sold highest listings, there's a PSA 9 Roberto Clemente. These are not rookie cards. These are veteran cards. 17,000 for a PSA 9, 12,000 for a Johnny Bench PSA 9, 10,000 for a Willie Mays, 10,000 for a Reggie Jackson. This is what the PSA 9s go for. The 10s? Oh my gosh. If you can get a 10 of a star out of this set, you're looking at hundreds of thousands or $100,000, maybe $30,000, $40,000, $50,000. But yeah, rarity, scarcity in the long term is what matters, you know. Hank Aaron, they go for less. They go for less because there's more of them in good condition. There's considerably more Hank Aaron's from this set for whatever reason because of the position they were placed in the uncut sheet before they were cut. They just happened to come out, more of them in better condition. The other thing is Hank Aaron was probably his cards were taken better care of back then even. But yeah, there's a Dusty Baker and Don Baylor. You know, their rookie cards were on this three-person card, which is also in the high number series in 1971. They're not huge stars or anything, Dusty Baker and Don Baylor, but getting that card is rare. Getting it in a PSA 9 is even more rare, and it's $4,000 in a PSA 9. And that's just, it's all based on rarity in the long run and scarcity. Jesse, especially because I'm new, I don't want to get accustomed to this market and then it'll all be over. Yeah, it won't be like this forever. I find it very rare. Those Brandon Ingrams are super cheap. I agree. They're super cheap. Premier level select is super cheap on, like, in general. Like, it's just way too cheap. Because the premier level select is even more rare than the concourse. So, like, if we go back to 2019 select, so, like, there was 1,500 Zion base concourse select, number one. But the premier level, let's look and see what the population number on that is. And I'd like to look, let's see here, 2019 select Zion PSA 10. So the die cut green, oh, we don't want to look at, we just want to look at recent. Ended recently. Yeah, so the concourse, oh my gosh. The Zion concourse PSA 10 goes for $300. I mean, that's probably, like I said, for a select with 1,500 population, like, that's a reasonable price. Not just reasonable for this market, but, like, even for, had it been last year's market or the year before's market, like, for select, with that population numbers on a premium product, That's a reasonable price. Concourse Silver is $1,200. Okay, so now we go back to the population and look at the Zions. Let's see. The Concourse Silver, there's 256 of those. So there's 6 times more base than there is silver, and the silver are trading at about 4 times what the base is. But let's look at the premier level is what I want to see, because if the silver concourse are going for $1,200, then the premier level, which is $400, so less than a third as much premier level Zions as there is concourse. And the court side, there's 147, so about the same, about a third of the premier level is what you see represented in courtside. Now the courtside always go for a lot, but the premier level I feel like are really undervalued, because normally, so there's another select number 1. That's the concourse. There's a raw premier level Zion for $100. It's cheap. That's cheap. Let me see here. Premier level PSA 10, $650 for a card that has 400. All right. That there's 400 graded at 10. Now that number will go up. I'm sure there's a lot that are sitting at. There's a premier level for $330. What? Oh my gosh. That's cheap. That's way too cheap. $650 is reasonable. I mean, I think even for 400 produced, like that's cheap. Tiger Stripe Choice Replica. PSA 10 question mark. It's a reprint. If they're putting a question mark PSA 10. Yeah, I think that there's another premier level. So the premier level, some of them are trading in a PSA 10 for the same as what the concourse are. And they're like 3 times less of them. So that's what I'm saying. Now let's see what the court side go for. I bet you the court side go for a lot more. I bet they go for like over 1,000. These are the red, silver courtside, ridiculous. Courtside PSA 10, best offer. Yeah. So the courtside PSA 10, the regular courtside goes for $2,000. And there's 150 of those, so I get that. But there's 400 of the premier level. And at $650, okay, I can understand that. That's about a third of what the courtside are going for. But at $300 or $350, like that's super cheap, you know. And that's what I've been seeing on the premier level, that mid-level select, kind of for the last couple months is like, this is just too cheap. Like Brandon Ingram, 2016 select rookies for $20 is just too cheap. Just too cheap. Oh, Jesse's got to go. Oh, I'll see you, man. Yeah, I'm probably going to wrap it up. Think in the long run, Select will be a hidden gem in the pile. I think so. I like Select more. I feel like there's more put into the cards. Like they're a better looking card. Prism's pretty basic. I mean, it's like a picture on a silver background. Like there's not even any court. Like if you look at a Prism card, there's usually not even any like actual basketball court behind it. You know, you can't tell me that the 2019 Zion Prism, just a frame with a picture of him, is a better looking card. Like, that's a way better looking card. I want that card. That's courtside. That's the $2,000 one. But even the premier level, it's just a better looking card. And the fact that they're so much cheaper. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Give me a break. Jiminy Christmas. I mean, the Prism Zions I don't think are going for near as much as what like the Lucas are. Like, I think they're going for like 1,000 or something like that, but actually that was the perfect. Here's one that's got the Prism, the courtside or the concourse, and the premier level selects. So there's your Prism. That's your select concourse, and that's your select premier level on the right. And yeah, I think the selects are a better looking card. That is a good looking card. Don't get me wrong, but I like the select more. I think they've got, with the population numbers, they've got way more long-term opportunity. Like the Prism is topped out. Like this is the thing with, like, you got Zion or Luka or Trey or John Morant. Like, they're at the top of the market, so they can't go up as much without the market going up along with it and taking everything else with it. Everybody, every other player's cards. If they continue to produce at the same or a better level, like, their cards are going to go along with it, right? So with that being the case, like, there's not a whole lot of opportunity left, you know? What can Zion do to make him more valuable to a collector other than what he's already been doing, you know? I don't know. I mean, obviously, if him or Ja come out and they have numbers that are similar to what Luka put up in his second year, the same type of market, then they're probably going to gain those numbers too. But I would imagine at some point, like, people are going to realize, like, oh, hey, they've printed way too much of this stuff, and, like, maybe it's not as good a deal at $2,000 as what I think it is. I don't know. We'll see. There's a couple concourse guys wanting like $1,000 for them. But anyways, I think I'm gonna wrap it up, folks. Thanks for watching. I'll like I said, I'm gonna try to drop that new video Tuesday night, unless something comes up. I've still got some work I need to do between now and then, but I'm gonna try to get that uploaded for Tuesday night. And then next weekend's Christmas, so probably not gonna have anything between Tuesday night and next week. I mean, it's probably gonna be a pretty slow week, but then I'm probably gonna do a stream. My next stream, I'm probably gonna do like actual go through and put some listings together on eBay. I want to do a bunch of draft listings for of like 2 and 3, 4 card lots for the new standard envelope program. So just make those up and have those ready so that when that program launches, then I can make those active and take advantage of that shipping discount. So that's probably what the next stream's going to be. But yeah, thanks a lot. I'll catch you later. Have a wonderful evening. Bye.